everyone. The reason why my eyes are like this is because, what the hell, man? What is up with the internet nowadays? Let's just say that a lot of stuff that I've been read through the internet has, I thought I've seen it all, and it just surprises me every day. But anyways, good evening, everyone. How was your day today? We are going to be doing something quite different today than my usual streams. Hold on, let me turn on the AC. There we go. I was starting to wonder how in the world why was I sweating? But it's because of that. Anyways, today we're going to be doing something extremely different. We're not gonna be playing TCG Card Shop Simulator. We're not gonna be playing Balatro. No, instead we're gonna be yapping a little, but we're not gonna be just yapping. Oh no. We're gonna be reading Dungeons and Dragons horror stories. I'm talking bad experiences with what people had, with a certain player in their group, or maybe we're talking about a certain party that made them feel in some way, or to some extent, we can even watch a video detailing DnD and stuff. You know, today's gonna be Dungeons and Dragons related. This is my first time that I'm ever gonna do a stream talking about Dungeons and Dragons like this. So yeah. This is quite a first. Whoever is in chat, hello. And welcome to my stream, all of you. For those who don't know, my name's Krisu. I'm stuck in cyberspace. I'm your average Joe, stuck in cyberspace for God knows how long. But, anyways, let's just say that I found some of the worst horror stories that one can lay the eyes on, or at least we're gonna attempt to find them. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna find some horror stories, and we're going to read them on stream for you guys out there. So sit back, relax, and do enjoy some horror stories. First and foremost, I will also like to say that tomorrow we're finally going to be playing Claire Obscure Expedition 33. So yeah, tomorrow turn-based returns, and on Friday we're also gonna have an art stream, same as always. However, without further ado, let me change the setting to something better. Which setting shall we change it to? You know what? What about this background? Nah, not this background. How about this one? Yeah, this is the park that we're always at. Except that, you know, there we go. We can see the clouds moving and stuff. I have no idea why it was glitched all of a sudden. But anyways, let me put myself in my little corner over here because my God, what you guys are about to hear is I am not mentally prepared, chat. I think I should be worried. Have you guys in chat ever had like a bad experience with like a terrible experience with someone who plays D&D? I remember I once had this experience with a person on my session, one of my sessions, way back. It was before I met my friends who played D&D. But I remember there was this character. I think the character was called Nanashi. Was it called? I think it was Nanashi. This character was like the edgiest character in the campaign and stuff. And this person actually had a problem with me. I was like, what the hell did I do? I didn't do shit. And the reason why she had a problem with me is because I was playing a UNT Pureblood, And yeah, I think it's because my character's outfit was a little revealing, but it's because of her storyline and where she comes from. So yeah, that's the reason why she was upset about my character. She was like, "Your character design has a lot of baggage in it," and I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean? I just wanted a character to create, and yeah, it was judging my character pretty much." Of course, I was not the only one that had a problem with her. Apparently, everybody in the session had a problem with her, and everybody gave the thumbs up to kick her out. And kick her out they did. That's a bit of a horror story. It's not too bad compared to the other ones. Not bad compared to let me set the thing for you guys. Hold on a second. Hi chat. Are you guys ready to read some high quality cringe? I suggest you guys mentally prepare yourselves because I will tell you guys you're not ready for this. Behold, this you see right here is Reddit, and this right here is something called the 44 rules of Dungeons and Dragons. And my god, do we have a lot to look at. So apparently, these 44 rules were made by someone who I think the players that I think the players that the yeah, I think the person that made these rules, I think that the players like made them reach boiling point or something. I don't know why, but all right. I want to see exactly why are these rules a horror story? Like I've heard about it on the internet. Loopsy VT, welcome to chat. Welcome. Today we're gonna be reading some DnD horror stories. So sit back, relax, and prepare to hear some high quality cringe. Cause something tells me that I'm gonna cringe. And so are you guys on chat. How's your stream going today? Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Just joined today and we're going to read some horror stories. Probably watch some YouTube videos as well relating to D&D. But anyways, let's read the archive of the 44 rules of Dungeons and Dragons. All right, let's see what outrageous rules did they made here for their campaign. I saw that the original poster deleted the original, and I couldn't find a full image anywhere. So I found a live stream from One Shot Questers and transcribed it. I felt like this needed to be archived for continued discussion and education. All right, let's see these rules. Let's take a look at these rules, chat. I'm scared. I'm sweating. I'm sweating. All right, give me your best shot. What do you got? Number 1. I'm timing turns. I don't give a fuck if it's unfair in your opinion, because your spells are hard or you don't know what square to move to. You get 1 minute to know all the actions you want or take, or I skip your turn. Here's the thing about Dungeons and Dragons, for those of you in chat who don't know. Dungeons and Dragons is not just a tabletop role-playing game. It's also kind of like a strategy game. You gotta strategize what spells you're gonna use, what move you're gonna use, and putting a 1 minute timer to a player. Yeah, I feel that the 1 minute timer, it's not, I feel like you're just, how should I say this? The 1 minute timer for the player itself, this is outrageous because you're not even giving them time to roleplay even. What? What the fuck? All right, let's see what else we got. This is okay. This is only rule number 1, by the way. Timing turns in D&D, bad idea. All right, what's the second one? If you want harder fights, bring a second character sheet and expect to twiddle your thumbs when you die. I'm not going to baby anyone. What? It's the dungeon master saying that their campaign is somehow comparable to something like Dark Souls. Like, what? What the fuck? Okay, sure. Like, I can have a second character, or something, but I'm not gonna bring the second character immediately. I'm like, oh man, I spent so much time creating this character. Now I gotta make another one. So if you want harder fights, so bring a second character sheet. So assuming that your character is gonna die in the campaign itself. I don't know why. Maybe the campaign itself has a difficulty spike depending on how you want your encounters, but I won't be the judge of that. All right, number 3. If you call me or my rules unfair, I'll get up and go home. And if you want to ride with me, you can find your own way back and suck it up. Wait, what the heck? Excuse me? Wait. So, okay. So what it's saying is that, oh, what the fuck, Dungeon Master? You're fudging your dice rolls. Huh? No, I'm not. Those are fair and square. Lifts up the Dungeon Master screen, and you see that he rolled a 1 when they claimed to roll a 20. Okay. For those of you who don't know in chat, fudging dice rolls is basically you faking that you rolled a specific number. Sometimes Dungeon Masters do this to make encounters easier or encounters harder for their players. Sometimes for the sake of storytelling, but in most malicious times for intentions of cheating. Dungeons and Dragons is supposed to be a story game. You're not. What? How are you? Okay, I have a question. Why would you want to win in Dungeons and Dragons? Like, come on, dude. You have to tell a story. Like, it's part of the lore, man. Part of the lore. You gotta have like an engaging story. It's not always about winning. It's so funny that they say that if we call the rules unfair, they're just gonna stand up and go home. Oh, my rules are unfair? You think my rules are unfair? I'ma head out. That's literally what the Dungeon Master is in a nutshell. That's literally what it is. What the fuck? All right. Let's read the next ones because this is already getting ridiculous, and it's only the 3rd one. All right, let's see. I'm going to take your character's loot away as regularly as you want it given out. Rule 3 will apply here. Okay. What's the point in having loot if you're gonna have the Dungeon Master trying to steal it 24/7? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I get it, loot is lootable. It's called loot for a reason, but really? You want to give them, like, I don't know, a ruby or some magical artifact that they found on a chest, and then you're just gonna take it away? Just like that? Come on, man. You gotta reward your players somehow. Rule number 5. All right. Okay. Let's see what we got. Rule number 5. Oh, this one's a doozy. Let's see what he says. If you don't act out any of your persuasion or intimidation or any other social checks, you fail. Wait. Okay. So wait. Let me reread that. If you don't act out any of your persuasion or intimidation or any other social checks, you fail. Before you even roll? Are you serious? You fail immediately because you aren't even trying and you're making the game lame for everyone else. Listen, man. For rule number 5, you have to admit that there's people that have anxiety and they don't wanna role play, They just wanna roll the check. Not necessarily you don't have to act every single action that you do, Maybe there's people that don't want to act that out, So, okay, so what you're saying is that if you have to act your persuasion and your intimidation checks before you roll, isn't it supposed to be after you roll that happens? Yeah, it's supposed to be after. It's not supposed to be before. That's what's funny about this. Even Baldur's Gate teaches you that. Although it's a little specific that they said intimidation and persuasion. Why those two specifically, chat? Why those two specifically? Okay, any other social checks, but specifically he had to point out persuasion and intimidation. Why? Just why? I'm starting to think this dungeon master is a weirdo already. All right, next one. Let's see what we got. Rule number 6. If you don't pick up cues for side quests, that's not my problem. Get over yourself. It's not a video game. It's a role-playing pen and paper based game with miniatures. I'm not holding your hand if you choose not to pursue shit. Okay. If the players do not pick up the cues for side quests, or they just are not interested in the side quests, just don't force them to do the side quest. If they don't pick up the cues, then I'm sorry, that's just your fault as a dungeon master. You're supposed to give them the cues, you know, for these side quests. And if they don't pick them up, yeah, you're doing a bad job as a dungeon master. If they don't pick up the cues for side quests. And they do want to do some side quests. But if they don't want to do side quests, then don't force it on them. Rule number 7. If you move to a square in combat, there's no takebacks. What? What is this, fucking Baldur's Gate? What the heck? Okay, this rule is kind of ridiculous, actually. Like, this is... Okay, so not only do we have a dungeon master that's kind of a weirdo, but we have a rule shark as well? Are you serious right now? What the heck? Having this rule in DnD, bad idea. Very bad idea. Rule number 8. You tell every single person what you're doing before you do it. You don't fucking roll the dice and then say you're casting Fireball. You tell us all. You don't understand, Dungeon Master. I must cast Fireball because Fireball is the answer to everything. Learned that from a certain wizard. But anyways... I mean, I get it. You know, in D&D, yeah, you are supposed to tell what are you doing to the entire table because nobody is gonna guess what you're doing, you know? So, you have this... Okay. In number 8, I kinda agree in a way, but... Like, you know... Yeah, you have to tell everybody what you do at the table, at least. Or what your plan is on the table, you know? That's the thing that you gotta tell everybody, or else you're... Yeah. Anyways, what else we got? Number 9. I will give out exhaustion more frequently. If you argue, go home, or you can actually fight me over it. Or you can DM yourself. Alright, I guess I'm the new dungeon master. You walk into the catacombs. You find what appears to be a mummified dog filled with rabies and rotting corpses everywhere. Roll initiative. Now that's engaging storytelling. But exhaustion frequently, the only reasons why someone would gain exhaustion, it's depending on the environment or if your characters are starving pretty much. But yeah, exhaustion is... why would you give exhaustion out of the blue? That's just ridiculous. Number 10. Every snide comment you make to an NPC will be remembered and paid back in triplicate. You all seem to believe there's little consequence. Alright, so... There is a saying that says every action has consequences. Yeah, this is the embodiment of that, chat. Every snide comment you make to an NPC will be remembered and paid back in triplicate. So it's like saying, yeah, this motherfucker will remember that. So yeah, at the very least, I know that in this session, apparently that actions have consequences. You know, it's cool that a session has consequences for their actions. And that can then affect the entirety of the... whatchamacallit. of the story itself, which I think it's cool for narrative's sake. But do not punish them for stupid shit, you know? Although it would be funny though if the people from the session remembered that. And by that I mean the NPCs. Number 11. You will not be given a mega dungeon every session. A temple is not the size of a small city. Neither is a cave. This shit will happen when it's natural and organic. Go play some roguelike if you want that. Listen, man. I mean, I don't disagree, but the way that they say it, it's like aggressive in a way, you know? I feel like this dungeon master is being extremely aggressive when it comes to all of these for some reason. And it's true, you're not gonna get a dungeon every session because, you know, there are sessions where you're not gonna get combat and it's just role playing, you know? Sometimes you just want to take a break, you want to role play, you want to hang out in a tavern, get drunk, or I don't know, whatever people do in taverns. I don't fucking know. So yeah, not every session has to be a dungeon. Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons is named Dungeons and Dragons, but that doesn't mean you're always gonna be in dungeons fighting dragons, you know? That's the thing about D&D. It's a storytelling game. It's not always about entering dungeons and fighting dragons. Alright, number 12. The travel portion is done. You want to travel continents doing literally whatever you want, whenever you want? Go play World of Warcraft or play D&D with AI. Oh god, no. Hell, bad idea. Bro. Okay, here's the thing. I do not agree with playing Dungeons and Dragons with an AI. I don't know, because I feel like it's just going to be shit, you know? The session itself is gonna be shit if it's made by AI. There's no soul to it, you know? There's no passion built into the session. Which is why I don't agree with that. But yeah, if you want to travel continents and stuff, I mean, you gotta, come on, dude. You gotta have some world building to your campaign, or else your campaign is gonna be boring as shit. Number 13. If you're late with no good reason, I'm going to half your character's hit points for the entire session. Oh, okay, that's too much. Chat, this is too much. If you're late with no good reason, I'm going to half your character's hit points for the entire session. That is a little exaggerated if you think about it. Because what if someone is late because of traffic? The person can't control traffic, you know? Oh, shit, Dungeon Master, I'm so sorry. I'm late because of traffic, you know? There was a huge traffic all the way here, and that's the reason why I'm late. You know what? Your excuse is not good enough. I'm gonna cut your HP in half. But Dungeon Master, no buts. Anyways, yeah, this one is way too exaggerated. I 100% disagree with this rule. I think this rule should not be enforced at all. Because it's just going to put them in a disadvantage. You watch anime? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Lots of it. My favorite anime? I have three of them that are my favorite currently. My favorite anime are currently Megalobox. What's your take on the toothbrush scenes from Monogatari? I'd rather not talk about it. I'd rather not talk about it. But it's so fucking weird, bro. Like, why did they have to make the toothbrush scene like that? Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about it. It was an easy wank. What the fuck? It was an easy wank for me. I mean, whatever floats your boat, I guess. But here's the thing, chat. Yeah, there are some anime. Anime is weird in general, you know? Like, no anime is safe from being weird. Except for the serious ones, but you know. I would say my favorite anime so far has been Megalobox, which is a boxing anime. It's pretty cool. Highly recommended. Rising of the Shield Hero. I went to that scene like 100 times, and now I can't brush my teeth without becoming excited. What the fuck? So here's the thing. Here's the thing. Yes, I have watched anime, and I have heard some weird shit from the internet when it comes to stuff when it comes to anime. Like, for example, when Kakashi revealed his face for the first time, like there were a lot of people on Twitter that were down bad for that man the moment he showed his face. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with people? My god. Did you get excited when you saw Kakashi's face for the first time, Emily 98? Kakashi Sensei from Naruto? You know, when he revealed his face for the first time? No? Yes? Maybe? His face without a mask felt like a joke? No. I think, like, I like it with... Okay, like it was a mask that looked like his face. You know, those skin masks. Yeah, those ones. But the moment he revealed his face, like, for real, like, not the thing that Naruto or Sakura or Sasuke imagined what he had under the mask, and not the other mask. I'm talking, like, actually without the mask. People went wild for that shit on Twitter. But yeah. I don't know. To me, it was whatever. I was like, oh, cool. He looks cool. And that's it. That's literally what my reaction was towards Kakashi. Oh yeah, my other favorite anime is none other than Solo Leveling. I even read the manhwa and everything. I'm gonna buy every single Solo Leveling manhwa, and if I see Alex Lee in a convention, either like Sekaiju or Puerto Rico Comic Con, I'm gonna bring every single manhwa for him to sign. It may cost me a lung, but I will do it, chat. I'll do it. Anyways, I'm gonna go brush my teeth and goo in a few hours. See you later. Alright, whatever tickles your pickle, I guess. Thank you for stopping by. Anyways, that was, that was interesting. Anyways, let's keep reading all of these DnD rules. If you don't show up for no good reason, and that will be determined by me alone, if no one else has the guts to say shit for fear of upsetting one another, the first time you'll find yourself losing either a whole level or up to 3 major items of your own. The second time you do it in a row, you'll be removed from the chat and the group, full stop. I have no fucking time for people to not show up. Okay. Listen, man. Listen. Like, dead ass. I'm not gonna lie to you. This rule is way too exaggerated. Like, this rule right here, this is worse than the previous rule. Like, this is worse than Rule 13, by the way. So apparently that if I don't show up for good reason, Dungeon Master, I'm so sorry for not showing up. I had to repair my car. You know what? That's not good enough. What level are you? No, Dungeon Master, please don't you dare. Don't do it. No. You're level 13. Well, now you're level 12. But I needed to fix my car. What do you mean that's not good enough? It's just not good enough, man. You gotta come here every day, you know? It's not my fault that your car sucks. I'm kidding. I'm sorry. But yeah. I feel that it's just, yeah, no. Just no. The second time that, they're gonna be removed from the chat and the group, full stop. So they just Thanos snap their character, pretty much. Losing their ability to play D&D with them. Yeah, this rule is too much. This is too much. I disagree with this. I disagree with this rule. I really disagree with this rule. 100%. Regla número 15. If you get too stoned or drunk to play, I will go home without a warning. Your warning is here. Wait, what? Wait, excuse me, what? If you get too stoned or drunk to play, I will go home without a warning? Excuse me? What do you mean if we get too stoned or drunk? Like that these players literally like got drunk or whatever? What the hell? I'll go home without a warning. Your warning is here. What the fuck, man? Bro, you can always have a no alcohol rule in your session, right? Why was that rule not established? I have no idea. But that's on you, Dungeon Master. That's on you. If I were to be Dungeon Master, I would not let this shit slide, you know? I would definitely not let this shit slide. I will have a no alcohol rule. It is what it is. You can't just come to my session like looking like shit like that, you know. Yeah, I mean, I get it. There's alcohol and shit in DnD, but that don't mean you have to do it IRL. Fuck that shit. Rule number 16, what do we got? If you get up for bong or smoke or whatever breaks every 10 minutes, I will simply pack up and go home. I'm sick of waiting for every bloke to be at the table. This person seems to get upset about every stupid shit, bro. What the fuck? Oh, my rules are unfair? All right, chat. Listen. Chat. Oh, my rules are unfair? Okay, I'm back. What I missed? You're pretty drunk there. Okay. Did the situation get better? You need to smoke every 10 minutes because you know, yeah, it's an addiction that you can't control yourself. Yeah, that's literally what it is. That's literally what this dungeon master is doing. He's getting upset over every stupid shit. Every single thing. What the fuck? Every stupid shit he... Oh my god. Oh my god. So, just because somebody has to smoke every 10 minutes or so, bro, maybe they need this shit or something. I don't fucking know. You know, vape or whatever. I don't know what they're into, but you know. Yeah, this type of shit, I don't know, man. It's just it's yeah, this dungeon master is really fucking petty. They get yeah, they get upset over every stupid shit. That's what it is. Chat, so far, do you guys agree with these rules? Because right now I'm disagreeing with a loud majority of them, to be honest. I don't agree with most of them. Rule number 17. Oh, this one's cool. All right, okay, this one is okay, this one's too specific. Number 17. Guidance, divination spells, owls, and whatever spells I decide are too fucking stupid are banned. Outright. No more fucking guidance. What the bro, what's your problem? What are you talking about? What's your problem with guidance, bro? What's your... One of their players was a cleric. You can tell one of their players was a cleric. Okay. So, guidance is banned apparently. So, I guess rest in peace to one of the best spells that clerics have. Divination spells are banned. So, fuck paladin and cleric, I guess. Owls are in whatever spell I decide. Okay, they're all banned. Are you serious? Bro, guidance is not even that big of a deal. That's part of the cleric's kit. You just have to adapt. Dude, you know what? Chat, I feel like this dungeon master has a skill issue. That's really what it is. It's a dungeon master with skill issue. Guidance, divination spells, owls. So even owlins are banned. What the fuck? So no Strixhaven? Oh wait, that's I almost forgot, Chad. Don't let this dungeon master find out about silvery barbs, or else they're gonna have an aneurysm. Seriously, no, fuck silvery barbs. That is like the only fucking spell that I decide is banned, outright banned. Silvery barbs is just fucking ridiculous, dude. Yeah, silvery barbs is a very ridiculous spell. I feel like silvery barbs should be banned. Okay, this is a hot take. Silvery barbs is a fucking okay. Whoever uses silvery barbs is pretty much committing a war crime. My god. But yeah, rule 17, I disagree with this 100%. Like you should know that it's part of their kit, you know? It's part of the this is supposed to be part of the this is supposed to be part of the cleric's kit, and they're just outright banning it. I disagree with this one 100%. Number 18, you get one chance at a skill check. If you fuck up, your party doesn't get their chance to do the same check. Think careful what's good at what. Okay, what about inspiration dice? You're not gonna give them inspiration dice at least? No? Alright, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go fuck myself. Hey, to be fair, this dungeon master is constantly leaving, so do I have the rights or what? Nah, I'm kidding. I'm not doing that shit. I'm joking. But anyways, bro, one chance, not even an inspiration dice. I think this person hates inspiration dice overall. Why? For what purpose? Like, damn, this person is actually a rule shark. I would hate to play in a D&D session with this individual. 19. Discussion of metagame details in-game will result in instant damage to your character. Okay, so you're not allowed to strategize. Are you serious right now, bro? You're not allowed to strategize in a tabletop role-playing game, a goddamn board game, pretty much. You're not allowed to strategize in a game like Dungeons and Dragons, where the whole concept is strategizing left and right. What the fuck? Rule number 20. Rules lawyering fellow players is encouraged. Actually, me will just result in me telling you to fuck off. Actually, motherfucker. Let's just say that I think your rules are bullshit, and I disagree with the loud majority of them because, you know, I think that all of these rules are just, yeah, they're not even supposed to be here in the first place. What is wrong with you? Like, stop it. Get some help, man. Find someone that listens to you at least. You know, get a psychiatrist or something. You need it. It's not that you want it. You need help. Okay. I do not agree with rules lawyering. I think rules lawyering is absolutely fucking bullshit, and I do not encourage it whatsoever. So yeah. If I'm a dungeon master myself, which I already fulfilled the duty of being a dungeon master, yeah, I do not encourage rules lawyering, because that's the equivalent of a rule shark, and I'm not like that. 21. You roll your dice within view of two players who aren't your standard. You roll them neatly and you roll them on the table. Failing to do these three things will auto-fail whatever roll you did. Arguing that you actually rolled validly when you clearly didn't is an automatic critical fail. So apparently, if your dice falls out of the desk by accident, your roll automatically fails. What the fuck, man? What if it's an accident? What if it's an accident? Also, I mean, sure, I will admit you have to roll your dice for people to see it because we don't want another Tiberius situation where we just cheated on his dice rolls, which is stupid if you think about it. It's fucking stupid. Besides, why would you cheat in Dungeons and Dragons? You don't want to be like this perfect character that can do no wrong. Like no. Your character gotta have flaws, you know? Some of my characters are pretty powerful and they have failed miserably on their checks. That's what makes Dungeons and Dragons interesting for everybody to see. Number 22. Instant death traps and mechanics are coming into place. If you call these things unfair moving forward, I will laugh at you and tell you to fuck off and cry some more. Bro. You're asking yourself, why do these players hate you? It's because you're I think rule number 22 already answers that. Bro, instant death traps. You really have to hate your players a lot in order to make instant death traps in your dungeons. I will not do that. What the fuck is wrong with you? I have no idea. But it's not about winning. It's about telling a story. What are you doing with your life? Like, dude. Oh, tell me you hate your players without telling me that you hate your players. Yes, motherfucker, I really hate my players. What are you doing? Stop it. Get some help. Instant death traps. Dude, that is the one thing everybody hates. That is the reason as to why the Tomb of Horrors is one of the most hated dungeons in the entirety of Dungeons and Dragons. Because of the insane amount of instant death traps. You don't want that shit in your sessions at all, bro. What's next? 23. I will not give you random magical items and vendors will not stock them. They are meant to be rare and hard to acquire. Listen, man, I get it. You know, you want to I get it. You want to have like items be rare and shit. Which, you know, it gives it that feel of them being rare and shit. But just make a rarity system or something. That's what I did for my session. I made a rarity system. That's what I did for some of the items. I did common items, uncommon, rare, very rare, extremely rare, and mythical items. So, I mean, random magical items and vendors are not gonna stock them too. What's the point of having a vendor if you're not gonna have anything in stock? That's stupid. I need my potions, bro. I need my potions. Potion seller. I'm going into battle and I need your strongest potions. You're too weak for my potions, traveler. You can't handle my potions. Like, bro, that's what it looks like. That's what a situation like that looks like. My goodness. All right, rule number 24. What do we got here? Random encounters in the form of oh my god, my throat. Let me drink some water real quick. Much better. All right, number 24. Random encounters in the form of random dragons or strange mysterious road trader or a band of goblin goblin what isn't going to happen. Go play Baldur's Gate 3. Wait, what? Random encounters with what? Let me read this thing. Wait, let me read this thing again. Okay. Random encounters in the form of random dragons or strange mysterious road traders or a band of goblin prostitutes isn't going to happen. Huh? Excuse me? Goblin what? That is way too specific, chat. That is way too specific. What? What? Why? Again, chat, that is way too specific. What the fuck? What the actual fuck? Chat. 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 I need a minute to process this. I need a minute to process what I just read. Random encounters in the form of random dragons, strange mysterious road traders, or a band of that isn't going to happen. Go play Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't even have that shit. What? What the fuck? Yeah, I think I reached the weirdest corner of the internet already. And keep in mind, chat, this is only rule 24. This is only the 24th rule, chat. I can't imagine what else is hiding in all of these other rules. What the fuck? What the actual fuck? Again, that is way too specific. Alright, you know what? Let's just continue reading all this shit before I have an aneurysm. Rule number 25. I don't give two fucks what Reddit said about X or Y ruling. So even if Reddit is correct, you're just going to even if it's correct, you're just gonna ignore it. What if it's a dungeon master that's telling you about the ruling? Like, you know, we have to have rules everywhere we go, or else it's going to be pure chaos. I disagree with this one too. 26. I actually give less of a fuck about what your mates and group did. Okay, so I'm not allowed to say what we did in another session. Damn, petty much? Bro. That's why I find exciting about Dungeons and Dragons. I like to hear other people's stories too. Like, oh, what did you do in that session? Ooh, what did your character do in that session? Is your character still alive? You know, stuff like that gets me engaged in Dungeons and Dragons a lot. I really don't know why this guy doesn't want to hear it. That's just weird. Number 27. Saying anything to me about other players not liking me doing X or Y without them saying it directly to me will result in me kicking you out of the group. Don't use someone else to push your own agenda. Hey man, I heard that Jimmy over there, yeah, this motherfucker, he's a shitty dungeon master, you know? You know, he's fudging his dice rolls. He leaves whenever he wants, pretty much. And yeah, his 24th rule is kind of weird, don't you think? Too specific, even. Oh shit! Oh shit, chat. Never mind. I got kicked out from the group. Well, guess I'm gonna have to find another. Guess I'm gonna have to find another group then, if that's the case. Well, fuck me, I guess. All right. Another stupid rule. Let's keep going. Rule number 28. You're not to sit down and have a 2-hour discussion about what Samson from Bandura Secondary did 3 weeks ago when you come to play. Take the 15 to 20 minutes I used to set up and review my notes to talk to each other, then sit down to play. Bro! 15 to 20 minutes is more than enough time to talk about what happened in another session. If you don't like that shit, Dungeon Master, then too bad. That's too damn bad. We just like Dungeons and Dragons a lot. Damn. You're not the only Dungeons and Dragons session in the world, bro. You gotta hear some stories too to get inspiration, motivation. But no, apparently this motherfucker doesn't want any of that. 29. Saying shit like, guys, come on. We're not here to have fun. We're here to play Dungeons and Dragons. This is serious business. Is rude and dismissive of how much work I put into this. I will simply go home if I hear this shit. We gotta take this seriously, man. I don't want to die to a goddamn dragon. This is Dungeons and Dragons. It's not a game. It's a way of life. In my defense, I will admit that it is pretty annoying when someone says that it's not just the game, but still. What the fuck, man? Okay, look. I get it. There are people that say, "Oh, this is not just a game, it's Dungeons and Dragons, it's serious business." It's like you do know that Dungeons and Dragons is still a game, right? It's a TTRPG, which stands for tabletop role-playing a game. Role-playing game! It even says it in the genre! What is wrong with you? Okay, look, I know it can be rude and dismissive sometimes, but you can maybe say something to your players like, let's not take it that seriously. We're here to have fun anyways. Because that's what Dungeons and Dragons is. Dungeons and Dragons is a game where you're supposed to have fun. If you don't have fun playing Dungeons and Dragons, then you, my friend, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Why are you not having fun? Why do you hate fun? Why are you always stuck in the no fun zone? Also, leaving is not always the answer. This guy literally leaves for the stupidest shit. Like, what the fuck? Oh, rude dice rolls? Leaves. Oh, you should not be drunk? Leaves. Oh, you need to smoke? Leaves. Oh, this is Dungeons and Dragons, it's serious business. It's not just a game. Leaves. Stop leaving on your sessions. Quit being a pussy. My God. Number 30. Don't fucking order food randomly. We will eat together at a specific time or not at all. I don't want food shit all over my things. But what about gummy bears though? They don't leave a mess. They're easy to eat. You can use them as enemies in your campaign. One Shot Quester suggested the idea, and yeah, it's a pretty good idea using gummy bears for that. But anyways, don't order food randomly, bro. What if I wanna order pizza for the boys? What do you mean I can't order a pepperoni pizza? What do you mean I can't? What do you mean I can't buy sushi for everybody? What do you mean I can't make chips with guac and chips for everybody? Everybody likes a good guacamole, except some people, but still. We gotta eat, gotta consume. It's part of the human body. Hell, even in a lot of Dungeons and Dragons sessions, people encourage people to bring snacks because we are gonna get hungry by playing maybe like endless hours, you know? Yeah, people are gonna get hungry. Especially if you're all day, if you're gonna stay all day playing Dungeons and Dragons. If it of course, assuming that it's not online and it's actually in the place, you know? Alright, let's keep moving. 31. No food or drinks near any of my D&D gear. If you wreck something, you can pay for it. I let one person trash my DM screen once, and I never had it replaced by them. In fact, I had that person attempting to gaslight me into believing they didn't wreck my shit at all. I'm not stupid. You're an adult. Accept responsibility. Okay, my real question is, how can you break a a DM screen? Like how can you break a dungeon master screen by accident? How do you wreck that shit? Okay, no food or drinks near the table? Perfectly understandable. You don't want Mountain Dew spilled all over the battlefield. You don't want that type of acid all over your board. I get that. You don't want your grubby hands with Cheetos or chips or whatever. I don't This is the reason why I will not have chips with in my sessions if we were to do them IRL. If anything, it would have to do something that doesn't make a mess, like sushi, for example. Sushi doesn't make a mess. It's expensive, sure, but it doesn't make that much of a mess unless you don't know how to eat with chopsticks. You can always just use a fork. No big deal. But yeah. Um Breaking D&D gear, I get it, minis are expensive, but you should not be that aggressive. You know what? Again, it can be someone's accident. Maybe someone had an accident or something like that. Don't be too rough on them. Cut them some slack. Mistakes were made after all. Number 32. Arguments between party members outside of roleplay will be resolved by me giving the definite ruling. If you don't like it, fuck off back home. Well, why don't you leave then? You seem to be you seem to want to be leaving the session for every stupid shit that happens. It's so ironic. I was supposed to take the Ruby of Azeroth. No! I was supposed to have the Ruby of Azeroth. You don't need that shit, you fucking wizard. Of course I do. I need it for my spells. All you need it for is for selling it for gold pieces. Well, it's better than what you do, at least. It's not my fault that your spells require all of these weird components. Seriously? You require bad shit to cast Fireball. You're batshit crazy. Well, I'm sorry, but I actually need this for my spells. You do not need the Ruby of Azeroth because you don't have any spells. You're just a big dumb barbarian. Guys, settle down. Settle down, okay? It's just the stone. It's just the Ruby of Azeroth. I'm pretty sure we'll find something. I'm sure we'll find something to use it for, not for spells and not for money. Maybe it's a key item. What do you say, Dungeon Master? Is it a key item or not? Dungeon Master, and he's gone. That's literally what it is. That's literally what's happening with this Dungeon Master. But anyways, arguments between party members. I would try to find a way to cool off the situation because I don't want to see my players fighting with each other. So I would try my utmost power to stop the fight as immediately as possible. Number 33. I don't give a fuck. I wanted to say that. I don't give a fuck what they did in Critical Role or what that one guy on Reddit said, or if you think that it's all make believe so you can do what you want. The world I run works on internal rulings and lore I created specifically for it. Okay, look, I get it. You know what? I get it, man. You're just envious that Critical Role has a better story than yours. Nobody likes all these rule sharking and shit. Bro, dude, I need to know the name of this dungeon master. I need to know who it is. I want to interview this individual and what prompted them to act this irrational. I want to find this dungeon master and I want to go incognito and play a game with them. Just and attempt to break all of these rules just to see them leave. I want to see that so fucking badly. But unfortunately, of course, it's not in the place because it has to be IRL. So yeah, this doesn't apply to me. But I do want to have an interview with whoever had these deranged thoughts of making 44 rules for Dungeons and Dragons. All right, what do we have on rule number 34? And I'm not talking about the website. I'm talking about like the actual rule. Every single person in this chat is having debuffs applied to their characters that should have occurred a long time ago. This will be specific to some characters. What the fuck? So you're just applying debuffs just because? That is not how Dungeons and Dragons works, man. Applying random debuffs just because, it just ruins immersion. Don't ever do that. 35. If you don't bring your sheet, you don't play. Well, I can always use your, I can always use your printer. I have a USB, so I can just print it out. If you don't bring dice, borrow some. There's always gonna be a player that gives you a dice or two. Yeah, there's always that one player that likes to share. Yes, I'm talking about you dice goblins out there who like to store up ungodly amounts of dice for whatever reason. When we play D&D, I'm not your friend. This doesn't mean you treat me like an enemy during the game. It means I'm no longer being nice. Okay, guys, I'm gonna get mean. I'm gonna be the dungeon master and I'm not your friend. It's like, dude, what my god, this dungeon master is... This dungeon master is an enigma. What the fuck? I'm gonna get mean. What the fuck? I'm not your friend and I'm no longer being... I cannot wait. Oh. Oh my god, I need water. I cannot wait. Oh my god. That was hilarious. Oh my god. Oh, watch out, everybody. The dungeon master is taking off his claws. He's no longer being nice. He's gonna get mean. He's about to He's about to drop fucking Tiamat on all of you. What the fuck, man? Reading Rule 37 is making me cringe so badly. Bro, no wonder you're being hostile towards them. You're not treating them as friends. What the fuck? Alright, what else we got? 38. If you treat me poorly in any way, shape, or form, after or during or before the game due to something that happened in the game, you're out. If you cannot separate a game from reality, I think you're a fucking moron and I have little time to deal with that energy. I mean, you're the one treating people like shit, bro. Ever heard of the phrase, treat others the way you want to be treated? Bro, if you're gonna treat them like absolute shit, then I'm sorry. People are gonna treat you like shit. Like, there's no sugarcoating it. You're asking for this. 39. You will submit your spell list. Okay, you will submit your spell list daily in game. If you do not give me a spell list each in game day, you will not be allowed to cast a single spell or cantrip in combat. I do not trust you guys to not use this against me. What? You're expecting me to have something like silvery barbs or some shit? I'm not. Listen, okay, chat, for real, for real. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I know how broken silvery barbs is, and I'm not gonna torture my dungeon master with using such a broken ass spell. Okay, I am not gonna use silvery barbs. The only reason why I would use silvery barbs on a D&D campaign, it's to fuck with the dungeon master if I despise the dungeon master. It's the only way that I would use silvery barbs. But other than that, yeah, I'm not using silver. I have made an oath to myself not to use silvery barbs unless the dungeon master, unless I feel it in my gut that the dungeon master is an a-hole. It's the only way that I'll ever use silvery barbs. 40. If you do not mark off spell slots, or you say something like, I remember what I'm at, as a way to justify it, I will simply fail your spell. Do you have your health in damage to you and say you have no spells to cast for the rest of the day? Okay, so what you're saying is that if you make an honest mistake, right? If you make an honest mistake and you do not mark off your spells, so what you're saying is if you do not mark off your spells by accident, let's just put it that way, like by accident, and you're somehow, and he finds out about it, he's gonna fail the spell you're trying to cast, have your HP, and take all of your spell slots away. So essentially, you're pretty much turning a wizard or a sorcerer or a cleric or a druid pretty much useless, and you're also taking half of the toolkit that Eldritch Knight fighter has. Are you mental? That is okay. That is. I thought the other rules were exaggerated. This one is way too exaggerated. You're essentially turning a wizard useless with no spells whatsoever. What are you gonna do? Attack with bare fists? What is wrong with this dungeon master? Who hurt you? Who are these players? 41. If you break literally anything, you can buy the replacement that day or not attend till you do. I'm sorry, dungeon master. I broke your figurine by accident. It's not my fault, okay? Jimmy had a water bottle and then he switched it with your anime figurine. Yeah, and I kicked the anime figurine's head instead. It was not my intention. Jimmy did it. Blame him. Wait, I'm the one paying it because I was the one kicking? Are you serious? Dude, okay, listen. If it was an accident, it's understandable, you know? Again, accidents happen. But if you're being an asshole to your players, you're encouraging this type of behavior on your players to treat you like shit and break the shit that you have. There's gonna reach a point where nobody's gonna be able to play with you at all, and you do not want that as a dungeon master. That is the worst thing that can happen to any Dungeons and Dragons session ever. You don't want that shit to happen. 42. If you complain about the choice of music, I fully expect you to bring the whole playlist the next session or to shut the fuck up. Wait, I get to bring the entire music? Wait. DJ. Wait, hold on a second. DJ, stop the music real quick. Did he say? Hold on. Dead ass? Like, for real? For real? The real horror story is Emily Uwu 98 talking shit. Yeah, I kind of agree there. It's so funny. Teddy Mark, welcome to chat. It's so funny that you just arrived at the worst possible timing, bro. We were also reading this which one was it? Oh, here we go. Rule number 42, which was, if you complain about the choice of music, I fully expect you to bring the whole playlist the next session. Oh, I'll do it gladly. Hello, Teddy. Oh, I'll gladly bring the session. I'll gladly bring the soundtrack of the session. Let me see if oh, perfect. You guys can see it at least. Okay, so you're expecting me to bring the whole session? Well, let me find something real quick. Final Fantasy 2 Pandemonium OST. Pixel remaster. Brother, if you want me to bring music to the session, you know full well I'm gonna bring peak. Just hear this shit. Just let it sink in, chat. Wait for it. Wait for it, god damn it. You hear that, chat? That's called peak. That's the type of music that I will bring in a fucking DnD session, god damn it. But anyways, DJ, you can start the music again. Excuse me. Anyways, where were we? Oh yeah. Rule number 43. Cannot stress enough how little I care about how you feel about my rulings from now on. So what they're saying is that all of these rulings do not matter at all. I will bring slow Lord of the Rings soundtrack. I bet that's some good shit right there. Lord of the Rings has peak music as well. Like, it's so fucking good. Oh, and rule number 44, I'm never just, bro, I'm never just treating you. I'm promising you. Are you sure you're not threatening me? Because this whole argument, like this whole 44 rules sounded like a fucking threat. I don't know about that. I call him bullshit. Teddy Mug, look at this rule for a minute. Look at rule 24 over here. This one is way too specific. Random encounters in the form of random dragons or strange mysterious road trader or a band of goblin prostitutes isn't going to happen. Go play Baldur's Gate 3. I know you have finished Baldur's Gate 3. Does this shit ever happen in the game? I need you to confirm to me. Yeah, that's my reaction exactly. Hey, yo. Like, does this type of shit ever happen in Baldur's Gate 3? Like, did you encounter all this shit? All this shit that they not in any way close? Well, chat, there you have it. Confirmed from someone that has beaten Baldur's Gate 3 from beginning to end. There is no such thing as random dragons appearing out of nowhere to fight, strange, mysterious road traders, or unless I've missed a millionth cutscene. Well, to be fair, Baldur's Gate 3 is a big game, so it is understandable. But I know for a fact that this shit doesn't happen. What the fuck? Goblin prostitutes. What the fuck? You know what I want to see, chat? I want to see some of the comments. That's what I want to see. Hold on. Let me check the comments real quick. if like half of these were worded less aggressively, and some of the do this or get kicked stuff was removed, I'd agree with a lot of them. Every dragon fight has a reason to it, unless you don't pay attention. It's true. I feel like every dragon fight must have a reason for it. And you barely fight dragons in Baldur's Gate, I think. I don't know. There's a whole testament here, which is literally elaborating on the rules further. Let's see, what else we got? It seems like a lot, if not most, of these can be very reasonable. Some are definitely overboard. Things like, don't expect mega dungeons, stop getting too drunk to play, or declare your action before rolling and roll openly makes it sound like this all comes down to a very toxic group and a very frustrated dungeon master. I mean, that's what it sounds like, yeah. That's definitely what it sounds like. Who heard the original poster? Why so angry? I have no idea. I want to find out who this dungeon master is and who are the players that heard him, because this shit is... Bro, this shit is comedy gold, man. This is the type of shit you only read. This is the type of shit that you only read on a Wednesday night. Take a guess. Probably their previous players. Might as well just call this one list to ensure you'll never DM for another ever and be done with it. You know what? That's fucking true. I would rather... Alright, chat, hear me out. Hear me out. I would rather enter the Tomb of Horrors than to play with this dungeon master 100 times. I would rather do that. And the Tomb of Horrors is already infamous for being a very toxic dungeon, by the way. A dungeon created by Gary Gygax just to fuck with his players. Because he thought that his players were invincible or some shit. This list implements several psychological breakdown techniques. Implementing these rules would eventually produce a party that is very submissive to Dungeon Master as players who have a healthy self-esteem and would know themselves out of a party. Ah yes, the famous psychological breakdown technique. Or, if you don't respect me, I will not Dungeon Master for you. It's like... You know what's even funnier, chat? Okay, so there is a rule over here that contradicts pretty much everything about this guy. If you treat me poorly in any way, shape, or form, after or during or before the game due to something that happened in-game, you're out. If you cannot separate a game from reality, I think you're a fucking moron and have little time to deal with that energy, right? Okay, so this guy is literally saying, oh, all I really want is a little respect. It's a little respect. This is the things I get. However, hear me out. However, hold on. Let me find it. I know it was around here somewhere. It was around here somewhere. It's not the goblin thing. It's not that. Apparently about instant death traps. It has to be around here somewhere. But I know it had something with instant death traps. Rules lawyering. Oh, here we go. Look at this. Okay. Chat. Okay, so it says on Rule 30A that if you treat the Dungeon Master poorly, in any way, shape, or form, that they think that you're a moron and that they have little time to deal with that energy, right? However, on Rule 22, that contradicts that, because it says that if you call the instant deaths unfair, he's gonna laugh at you and tell you to fuck off or cry some more. Motherfucker, you're asking to be treated like an asshole. What the fuck? Treat others the way you want to be treated, bro. That's how it works. My God. The nerve of these people, I swear to God. Alright, chat. There is a video that I have found out. It's from Many Kudos. Yes, this is the one. Chat. This is the many scandals of Dungeons and Dragons. I feel like we're in for a wild ride because D&D had a lot of fucking scandals, and yeah, I don't know why. I feel like we're gonna have an enjoyable time watching this video. I don't know what to expect from it. It was 3 years ago, so you could say I'm late to the party. But anyways, let's see what the video is about. Wait, before I do that, hold on a second. There we go. All right. Without further ado, let's see the many scandals of Dungeons and Dragons. All right, many kudos. What do you got to show us this time? Oh, I'm gonna put this on full screen for you guys to enjoy. Let's see what we got. Oh shit, gotta increase the quality as well. Yeah, this volume's fine.
Welcome to Mini Scandals, the series where we roll an investigation check on the scandals and drama that grip the world's hobbies, niches and interests.
Okay.
Dungeons and Dungeons and Dungeons and Dragons, also known as D&D, and D&D,
okay,
is the legendary tabletop role-playing game that has captured the hearts, minds and virginities of its obsessive player.
Wait, the what? Captured the minds and virginity. Oh, we're off to a good start. Okay. Oh my god, okay. We're off to a good start, chat.
First released in the mid-70s, it has slowly crept its way from the basements of men still living with their parents well into their 30s to the basis of the highest earning Twitch channel. However, this meteoric rise wasn't without its share of adversity, and our favourite murder hobo simulator has been blamed for inciting everything from prison escapes to Satanism to more than a few deaths. I'm gonna need everyone to roll initiative because it's time for the mini scandals of Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh shit, hold on. I gotta roll initiative for this shit. Where's my dice? Oh, here it is. I'll pick it up. I'll pick it up later. Anyways. You guys have no idea how many dice do I got. Oh, I rolled a 19. Let's go. I'm alright. My body is ready. Steam Tunnels and Serpents, Part 1.
Parents looking for an easy solution to their troubled child's problems that doesn't involve taking any responsibility themselves have often blamed the new and unknown. Whether it's violent video games, that dang rock and roll music, or Colosseum gladiator fights. In the mid-70s, Dungeons and Dragons rolled its way onto the dorm room tables usually reserved for beer pong and premarital sex, and parents were immediately concerned. By D&D, I mean, that other stuff was fine.
Wait, what? Wait, what? Whoa. What was fine?
First victim of Dungeons and Dragons was a teenager named James Dallas Egbert III. James was a child prodigy who enrolled at university at just 16 years old. Yet despite this impressive feat, was still under immense...
Egbert was a troubled kid in 1979 according to Deere's book, The Dungeon Master. He was a sophomore in college at 16. With 180 IQ, socially... I'm not gonna say that word. Mentally challenged. An epileptic, not quite under medical control. A drug addict who claimed to make its own drugs. And under severe pressure from his mom to make perfect grades, even though he had no difficulty making good ones. Also, since Egbert was homosexual, the homophobia on campus in 1979 undoubtedly was a contributing factor to the stress that caused him to vanish. Here's the thing, chat. Back in the day, a shit ton of people were homophobic. Like every single time they saw two dudes kissing or two dudettes kissing, it's like they would always go like, ew. It's like, bro, what the fuck? You do know that they're human like you, right? At the end of the day, we bleed the same color. What the fuck, man? But yeah, this was 1979, so you know that people hated that shit back in the day. Nowadays, it's widely accepted, you know? So it's fine. it's perfectly fine nowadays. To some people, at least, there's still those type of people that love to live in the past for some reason. Anyways, let's continue.
Pressure from his parents to succeed academically. This, coupled with epilepsy, a drug addiction, and the possibility he was coming to terms with his homosexuality in an environment that was hardly accepting, led him to attempt suicide in the steam tunnels below his university. When this failed, he went into hiding, and it was during this time that PI William Dare was hired to try and find him. Through rumours dredged up from university students, as well as Dare's unfamiliarity
His shirt is pretty cool though.
with D&D, one of his early theories was that Egbert had taken to playing
William Deere, private detective, beginning his search for James Dallas Egbert III in the steam tunnels beneath Michigan State University. The student has been missing since August 15. At right is Mr. Deere's helper, Dick Riddle. What were these names, bro?
Dungeons and Dragons in the steam vents below the university and somehow got lost. Interestingly, it appears that students actually did carry out fantasy roleplay in the steam vents, but of course that isn't D&D, it's LARPing.
Lightning bolt!
Yet the simple-minded folks of the 1970s
Yeah, that is
were
LARPing.
quick to lump anything fantastical together, in the same way that your mum still calls every console a Nintendo. Dare's steam
For those of you who don't know what LARPing is, LARPing stands for live action role playing. It's like playing Dungeons and Dragons, but you know, you guys have like a setting and everything, a place separated for you guys to do your LARPing sessions and all that. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. The student's appearance is summer school is shrouded in mystery, and school officials believe that he may either have become lost in the tunnels, which carry heat to campus buildings, while playing an elaborate version of a bizarre intellectual game called Dungeons and Dragons, or that the disappearance might just be a hoax.
Vents and Dragons hypothesis was quickly made the focal point of the case by the media, and the idea of America's youth being so absorbed by role-playing games that they lose touch with reality was ingrained in the nation's collective consciousness. This unfounded fear was even coalesced into a work of fiction imaginatively titled Mazes and Monsters.
Mazes and
About
Monsters,
an
let's
obsessive
go.
RPG player having
I'm not gonna read this whole thing, but there's a movie of Mazes and Monsters featuring Tom Hanks. It's one of those movies made when the Satanic Panic from Dungeons and Dragons was made, but it's a good watch. I highly recommend it for a lot of you to watch it. For its time, it's pretty fucking good. I actually enjoyed it.
a psychotic breakdown and believing he's now his character. This novel was even adapted
Yep, there
into
it
a
is.
made-for-TV movie of the same name, featuring a 26-year-old Tom Hanks in his first leading film role, weirdly enough.
I have spells. I'm going to fly.
You don't have enough points. I'm the
I am
dungeon
the maze
master.
controller.
Oh shit, it was maze controller. I fucked it up. I'm sorry, chat. But yeah, this scene from the movie was so fucking iconic. It was so unbelievably. God damn it, I love this movie.
Ironically, the pearl-clutching suburbanite mothers of America were unable to distinguish between fantasy and reality, and many interpreted the events in the book as realistic depictions of how Dungeons and Dragons is played and what it might lead to.
I have spells.
Tragically,
Come on,
Egbert's
man.
story doesn't have a
I
happy
have
ending.
spells.
Worsened by the media ignoring a discussion around the real but apparently boring story of mental health issues and substance abuse in favor of vilifying one of the few things that likely gave this teenager a temporary escape from his troubles.
Okay. Part 2: Prisons and Prisoners. That's a, you know what? That's a good name for a campaign. You got your Dungeons and Dragons, you got your Mazes and Monsters, you got your creatures and catacombs and creatures, but now you got prisons and prisoners. That's a good one.
Okay, that last one got a bit heavy.
Yeah,
so let's take a
did.
quick breather and take a look at something a bit less depressing.
What?
The American justice system.
Yeah, it's a comedy.
Wait. Dungeons and Dragons may as well have been made for prisoners. You're stuck in a room for most of the day with nothing to do but create elaborate worlds, scenarios, and characters. You've
True.
got plenty of inspiration to draw from, and you're desperate to imagine you're literally
Bruh. playing D&D in this long. I wouldn't. I would never. I would hate going to prison, chat. I would really hate going to prison. Look at this shit. Look at this shit, chat. That's just depressing. You barely have room to sleep. If you go the other way, you're gonna fall to the floor.
Really anywhere else. Tabletop RPGs are apparently quite common in the Slammer and serve much the same purpose.
Wait, what's this? It may sound like a strange juxtaposition, hardened, tattooed offenders donning the clothes of fantasy characters. Yet both former inmates and correctional officers agree Dungeons and Dragons is more common in prison than you might imagine. Most facilities have at least one game going. Some have a player in every cell block. According to Micah Davis, a former inmate and dungeon master in prison in Texas, we had our own table in the day room. That's saying something. Aryan Brotherhood table, Mexican Mafia table, black guy table, and D&D table. Why is there a black guy table? That's so weird. Like, dude, what if a person of color wants to play Dungeons and Dragons? I say let him in. Come on, the more players, the better. Who's gonna save the princess? If I can't do it, he has to do it.
As they do on the outside, bringing together friends to share in a common story and overcoming adversity using teamwork and not trying to pickpocket my fucking character every chance they get, Steve. Of course, innocent fun that involves using knives on goblins and not other inmates can seem peculiar for the uninitiated, and so overzealous prison wardens.
The following activities are prohibited. Participation in any of these prohibited activities will result in disciplinary action. Horseplay, gambling or games of chance, manufacturing of dice, dominoes, chess sets, cards, or any form of games, role-playing games, example, Dungeons and Dragons, conduct that disrupts or interferes with the security and orderly running of the institution. Excerpt from Idaho State Correction Institution Offender Handbook. Dude, why do cops hate fun? Like, why do prisons hate fun? I say let them play D&D. What is wrong with you?
To justify their title, have banned RPG games and confiscated any gaming paraphernalia.
Okay, I'm not gonna read the whole thing. I'm just gonna read the highlighted thing. A lieutenant took an active interest in breaking up our game, taking our pieces and sending out maps to the board to make sure they weren't escape plans. Are you serious? All these guys want to do is just play Dungeons and Dragons, and you're just gonna interrupt their session. Oh, that's an escape plan? No, come on, man. Let them have their fun.
Even confusing game maps with escape plans. The most famous example of this was a 2004 lawsuit against the Walpin Correctional Institution by prisoner Kevin T. Singer, who's away for a wee while after rolling a net 20 while using a sledgehammer on his sister's boyfriend.
What the
fuck? Prison was primarily concerned with the gang-like activity they perceived to be present within D&D, as the routine meeting of a group of players with a dungeon master supposedly mimicked the organization and hierarchy of actual gangs. Of course, the prison had no evidence.
The court, which is based in Chicago, acknowledged that there was no evidence of marauding gangs spurred to their acts of destruction by swinging imaginary moles. So funny.
Of D&D leading to any actual gang activity in their prison or at any other prison or, well, anywhere at all, ever.
Yeah, pretty much.
As anyone who spent their weekends in high school playing video games instead of getting drunk and kissing girls on the mouth hole will tell you, gaming was likely keeping these prisoners out of trouble, if anything. After all, there's hardly time to spend getting into real fights if the precious few hours you have out of your cell each day are spent bartering with the town blacksmith to get a discount on a new warhammer. Still, the appeals court was surprisingly not interested in giving inmates the tools to help rehabilitate themselves, instead of just perpetually punishing them and guaranteeing an endless supply of repeat offenders. And the D&D ban was upheld by the appeals court in 2010. Even in prisons where D&D isn't banned, blanket bans on gambling often leave dice at a scarcity, but creative inmates aren't ones.
Ooh, wait a minute. Okay, wait, whoa, hold on a second. This kind of cool, actually. This dice made of papers, chat. This is actually kind of cool. Man, the ingenuity of these prisoners, bro. That's so cool.
to lie down when the man tells them they can't fling fireballs with the boys. Dice have been made from everything, from toilet paper to the stickers from shampoo bottles, and gamers in the gulag often have dice templates sent to
Chat, we gotta have this template. Keep this in mind, chat. This is the template that you're gonna need if you guys ever end up in prison and you wanna host a Dungeons and Dragons session. You're gonna need this template.
From their people on the outside, so that they can easily remake them if a set is taken or destroyed by guards. Even more creative inmates have used everything from spinners to pulling numbers from a cup to using playing cards, which aren't banned for some reason.
For some reason, yeah.
Favorite, a pair of styrofoam cups that the DM spins until you tell them to stop. Don't ever take for granted the fact that you can just go, "Hey Siri, you dribbling dick of a woman, you fucking dumb bitch, you stupid broad. Could you please roll a d20 for me?"
20.
What the fuck? What? That is so funny. How do you trash talk Siri and then she proceeds to roll you a nat 20? What the fuck? Part 3, Suburbs and Satanists. Alright, here we go, chat. The Satanic Panic. Let's see what we got.
Not many people
The Satanic Panic, should I say so myself.
know this, but the medieval fantasy setting of Dungeons and Dragons was actually based on the medieval fantasy setting that people were living in the 1980s. And what
Pretty much.
medieval society would be complete without the constant fear of demonic influence brainwashing the youth? Not to be confused with the religious influence brainwashing the adults.
But they'd take the pieces of the game, they would throw them in the incinerator or the fireplace, and screams would come out
What
because
the
there seemed to
fuck?
be some kind of spiritual forces inhabiting those pieces, and
Yeah, they
children
like
would
to make
drop out
shit
of
up
life. They didn't want to
sometimes.
study anymore.
On June 9th, 1982, 16-year-old DnD player
Patricia
Irving
Pulling
Pulling
holds a
committed
photo of her
suicide.
son.
His story sadly echoes that of Egbert's, an intelligent yet disturbed youth whose interest in Dungeons and Dragons somehow superseded his status as a social outcast with sociopathic tendencies as the root
fuck?
of his problems. Soon after, his mother Patricia Pulling founded the organization BAD, short
Bad.
for Bothered About Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, okay.
Which is a very mild name for the thing you blame your child's death on.
Yeah,
You see,
right?
Patricia had rolled a nat 1 while investigating the game and didn't think that it had caused Irving to fall in with the wrong crowd or something. She thought the game had
Mrs. Pulling said her son killed... Okay, fuck it. Mrs. Pulling said her son... committed seppuku hours after a curse was placed on him during a game of Dungeons and Dragons at his high school. What the fuck? That looks like that sounds like the parody that the Dungeons and Dragons parody, the one that made fun of the whole Satanic Panic, which was adapted into a film. Funnily enough, sure, it's a little shitty and it has some humor into it, but it's a cool film nonetheless. I wouldn't say it's better than Mazes and Monsters. I think Mazes and Monsters is just so good. I feel like Mazes and Monsters is a hidden gem of a movie. So, yeah.
literally put a curse on him. Possibly as a coping mechanism, Paddy P became obsessed with the notion
The devil's web. Who's stalking your children for Satan? Pulling with Katie Coffin.
that Satanism was an ever-present concern, seducing the youth of America with gaming. Patricia Pulling wasn't content with just Patricia pulling this shit in some local newspaper or her church group either, and through sheer determination as well as lack of an actual hobby like Dungeons and Dragons, she managed to weasel her way into positions where she could actively ruin other people's lives.
What do you mean?
These included becoming a consultant to law enforcement, who she
The who, what, when, where, and how of Team Satanism. Adolescents from all walks of life, many from middle to upper middle class families, intelligent, over and underachievers, creative, curious, some are rebellious, some have low esteem and are loners, some children have been abused, physically or sexually. When does this occur? It appears the ages most vulnerable are 11 to 17. Public places such as rock concert, game clubs in communities or at school, private parties at a friend's home. How? Through black heavy metal music. Through fantasy role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons. Obsession with movies, videos which have occult themes. Oh fuck me, I guess. I guess I'm gonna go. I guess I'm a fake then because I like a VTuber that is pretty much literally the devil. We all know who I'm talking about.
Only provided a profile for teenagers who could potentially be involved in Satanism, which was so vague and open-ended that it essentially describes every teenager. Mrs. Pulling even managed to fit 2 lies into her title at once, when she was brought on as an expert witness for several D&D related court cases. One such case was the trial of D&D playing murderer Darren Molitor, where she was brought in to explain to the jury how Dungeons and Dragons works.
I'm not reading the whole paragraph, chat. I'm sorry.
To explain to the jury where to find the clitoris.
You gotta pause it.
It's here, by the way. It seems even Patricia knew she was full of shit.
What?
As
I
her
wasn't paying
organization
attention.
would consistently fudge statistics, crop articles, and otherwise twist whatever words they could to fit their narrative. Even the newspaper article regarding her own son's death was gone over with the hedge clippers before making its way into Bad's official publications. Removing the quote from one of his classmates.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, in the section of article, Pulling did not print the following appeared. He had a lot of problems anyway that weren't associated with the game, said Victoria Rock Charlie, another classmate of Pulling's in the talented and gifted program.
Mates that noted he had a lot of problems anyway that weren't associated with the game. She even created these pamphlets to help misinform school staff
hard.
and law enforcement.
I love the artwork.
Admittedly go pretty hard.
Right?
So I printed them on the finest t-shirtiest fabric, featuring all your favorite characters. D's nuts, Joe, Mama, Bofa,
D's
nuts, and Sagondis
nuts for the second
for the third time.
Oh
That's not all. We have these other things too. It's,
even the shirt.
I mean, it's just merch.
This merch. I don't know about you guys, but this merch goes kind of hard. Yeah, I like this shirt a lot, but I think my favorite one has to be this one. You know, the shirt. Yeah, because this thing goes hard though. I love this design. Whoever was the graphic designer who made that pamphlet, brother, that motherfucker needs a raise. Bro, look at that shit. Of course, it says D's and everything. Yeah, this one right here, bro. The more I play D&D, the more I want to get away from this world. My feelings exactly. To some extent, of course. I don't want to live in the world of D&D. I don't want to get poisoned and die. But yeah, this I don't know about you guys, but this looks like a heavy metal cover. I don't know about you. Anyways, let's continue. Is this where the ad ends? Yeah, I think it does. Yeah.
Kooky Crusade, and the media storm drummed up by William Dare's hypothesis on the Egbert case, you might think that Dungeons & Dragons was being dealt a one-two punch that they would struggle to recover from. Of course, these scandals were essentially the largest free marketing campaign for what was until then a relatively niche hobby. Right before the Steam Tunnel incident, the basic set might have sold...
Right before the Steam Tunnel incident, oh wait, he's saying it.
...sold 5,000 copies a month. By the end of 1979, it was trading over 30,000 copies a month.
Really?
And only going up from there. Unsurprisingly, teenagers aren't ones to heed the entertainment recommendations of their church-going elders, who presumably wanted them to spend their days staring at a wall. And being told that there's this kick-awesome game full of demons and witchcraft and fantasy battles that you definitely shouldn't check out isn't quite the deterrent they thought it would be.
True.
In the end, Patricia Pulling only ever helped advertise Dungeons & Dragons. Her organization Bad effectively disbanding in 1997 following her death, after she presumably received a curse while playing a game of Uno.
What? Here's the thing, chat. A lot of people that were telling D&D bad, D&D this, D&D this and this and that. Bro, what they did is they just gave free promotion to the game pretty much. Like they just made Dungeons and Dragons into the mainstream. Like back in the day, I thought D&D was for nerds, but then I started playing it and I'm like, you know what? This shit kind of cool. Hold on a second. I'm gonna make like 100 different characters now. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. DnD's world famous dad guy. If it's who I think it is, yeah, I think I know who it is.
Anyone who's slung icosahedron with the gang before has almost certainly encountered some version of that guy.
Oh god.
These people willfully ignore the collaborative aspect of Dungeons & Dragons and instead set out to create Dickweed Dan's amazing main character syndrome adventure, starring all these assholes who take forever to do their turns when...
That is such a funny title though, Dungeon Module P4. Dickweed Dan's amazing main character syndrome adventure, starring all these... It'll take forever to do their turns when I could be playing instead. This is somebody with a god. Well, this is what someone with a god complex would say.
I could be playing instead. Tabletop RPGs can be a unique litmus test for friendships, in the same way that moving in together or trying heroin can bring out undesirable qualities from otherwise reasonable people.
Yeah,
well, this is all well and good for a small friend group, but what about when your D&D playgroup is routinely broadcast to the entire world for millions to see? Such was the case with Critical Role.
Yep,
for those who have been living under a stone golem, Critical Role is a weekly game of Dungeons & Dragons played by a number of professional voice actors and broadcast on Twitch and YouTube. It's essentially the world's most famous game of Dungeons & Dragons, with their Dungeon Master, Matt Mercer, considered the gold standard that Dungeon Masters the world over are forever trying to suckle at the storytelling teat of. These days, Critical Role is a titan of a show, with Matt and his 7 players topping the highest earning Twitch
9 million in the last 2 years. Wow. Twitch channel notes for Dungeons & Dragons earned over 9 million in the last 2 years, the highest payout listed in the data leak. Wow. Oh. Matthew Mercer going places with his campaign. He a good dungeon master. Here's a thing, chat. Matt Mercer, he is a master when it comes to, like, he's a veteran when it comes to Dungeons & Dragons. Like, the way he tells his story is extremely fucking immersive. That's why he has not 1, not 2, but 3 campaigns. I don't know if he has a 4th one, but yeah. This guy, yeah, he's a fucking veteran in this shit. One of the best dungeon masters out there.
Twitch accounts over the course of their 2nd campaign. Of course, the reason I'm even talking about any of this is that they actually started with 8 players.
Yep, there it is.
During their first campaign, the crew were joined by fellow voice actor Orion Akaba, famous for his role as Rico Rodriguez in Just Cause 4.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Additional voice in the Lego Movie video game, and of course,
whoa, hold on. Back the fuck up. He voiced what? He voiced the Centaurian Chiron skin in Smite as well. Delinquent Being, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. What else did he voice? Gliding, Pac-Man, and Ghostly Adventures, The Local Population. Saints Row 4, the voices of Virtual Steelport. Apollo Just. He also voiced. This motherfucker also voiced Apollo Justice in Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. Are you serious? What the? Okay, so this guy's got quite a portfolio. A shame his attitude doesn't equivalent. How should I say? A shame that his that his attitude doesn't reflect his portfolio very well. If he talks about it, your guys are about to see why.
And the
if I'm not mistaken, I think his character was Red Dragonborn, wasn't it? I think it was.
Lego Movie video game, and of course, Tiberius Stormwind.
Yep, there he is.
His character in Critical Role.
It's this
Tiberius
guy.
was a dragonborn sorcerer, a powerful spellcaster and bombastic character who won over the fanbase early on. However, with a bit of hindsight in our post 9/11 world, it's easy to see that Orion began to slip into the usual trappings of being their version of that guy. One of his most infuriating habits was metagaming. And here's where the distinction between Dungeons & Dragons being a game and a storytelling experience really become apparent. Metagaming is where you utilize real-life information to influence choices that your character should have no way of knowing. In almost any other game, coming prepared for a fight would earn you the praise of your teammates. But in D&D, googling the Yandere dev monster
Wait,
to discover that it...
Wait, hold on a second. This is useful information. Yandere dev medium ooze lawful. How is he lawful evil? Armor class 11. It's not so bad. This guy's a weakling. 9 hit points, 6 strength, 7 dexterity, constitution 10. Damage vulnerabilities is mild criticism. This guy's a weakling. I can throw hands with him.
It's weak to mild criticism, undermines the experience for everyone else, and destroys the immersion that your dungeon master is trying so hard to build.
True.
Tiberius was apparently clairvoyant and would nip out for a smoke during fights against monsters that were resistant to his spells, or conveniently summon the one thing that would counter a creature, none of which Tiberius could know. This stemmed from Orion's belief that the DM is more of an adversary to be outwitted as opposed to a storytelling umpire. If metagaming is in the woodlands outside the castle of cheating, fudging dice rolls is sitting atop the cheating throne and subjugating the local townsfolk. And Orion was just as happy to lie about his dice rolls if it meant that Tiberius got to be 4% more of a Mary Sue. There were several situations where it appears that he either re-rolled unfavourable dice or changed them with his hand after they had landed, requiring the other members to literally watch his rolls in later episodes to make sure he wasn't cheating.
Look at that chat.
I'm not gonna count that.
What the fuck?
Oh, I'll count that. 19.
Why didn't you count it?
Because it flew out of my hand. I didn't roll it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure, buddy.
Ironically,
sure.
these attempts to make his character cooler only made them more unlikable. And this sort of behavior would get you kicked out of any D&D table in a Las Vegas casino. These bad habits...
That's what I always say to you guys in chat. Don't try to be the perfect character because you're not gonna have any flaws pretty much. So yeah, make mistakes. Let the dice rolls fuck up your storytelling. That's the good shit about Dungeons and Dragons. Being the perfect character can sometimes be extremely boring.
Habits were partially attributed to Orion being afflicted with main character syndrome, where a player believes they're playing a single player RPG, where their character is the star and constantly deserving of the limelight, and all these other guys are just here to alley-up them some slam dunks. There were times when he would swoop in and try and steal the thunder from a cool moment that another player was experiencing.
Pass another pillar that just barely manages to miss it by a segment.
I cast telekinesis to swoop it up. God. Just to help guide it.
Oh yeah? Counter spell. That's what I would have done that just to grieve the fuck out of him. Counter spell.
Let me just see if I got it first.
And whatever this is.
As Vex is saying this,
oh no,
Tiberius is getting a half chub.
Oh my god, why? Come on, man.
Hey. Well, that's just weird.
You can't see it because it's inside.
My god, shut up. Stop.
Anyway.
Yeah.
As well as an infamous incident where he blew up.
Oh, why? Why is he like this, chat? Consider to yourself uncrittered. This was made without my permission and I'm pissed. Fuck this guy. What the hashtag leech. I couldn't resist on Redbubble and also what size shirt do you wear? I mean, you know what? This could have been a good collaboration, but Orion decided, nah, fuck you, bro.
At a fan who made a t-shirt based on his character, requiring other cast members to step in and apologize.
True.
Episode 27, Orion's final episode.
You can tell, you can see everybody's faces right here. You can see all of their faces full of misery. And then here's Tiberius. And then here's Tiberius. Here's Orion with his mug-ass face. Like nothing ever happened. I genuinely fandom frame I stopped on while looking for clips. So yeah, this is pretty much what playing Dungeons and Dragons with Orion was like. This picture sums it up perfectly.
Episode is notably the most uncomfortable in the series.
Yep.
With the usually chipper cast deflated and smelly. The following episode, Orion is conspicuously absent, with Matt filling in as his character Tiberius, who has conveniently decided to go off on his own for a few episodes. Several episodes later, Tiberius, still played by Matt, shows up one last time to announce that he's leaving for good.
I have to go now. My planet needs me.
Tiberius died on the way back
Following
to
this
Draconia.
in-game send-off, as well as official confirmation that Orion would no longer be joining, the Crit Role fandom, or Critters, became overrun with rampant speculation. Given the vagueness of the official statement, fans began trawling through previous episodes, social media accounts, and forum posts from the crew to try and pinpoint exactly what could have caused the split. In 2017, over a year after leaving the
Usually, a lot of people like to tell you that the very first 25 episodes of Critical Role from Vox Machina, that shit never happened. Apparently, a lot of people like to say that the first 25 episodes never happened. But I still wanted to find out what happened, and so I did. So yeah. Curiosity killed the cat. Literally and figuratively.
show, Orion made a now deleted Instagram post explaining, in his own words, why he left. According to him, it came down to focusing on his mental and physical health. As
my medical health needed desperate attention. My mental health needed desperate attention. I was in deep depression for years, and it came to a head during the show. My guy, my brother in Christ, you don't say this type of shit after pulling the shit for millions to watch. What the fuck? You're just asking. You're just. Oh my god. Okay, I'm not gonna get into this.
Was battling both cancer and depression during his time on Critical Role. Of course, his departure happened immediately following the infamous 27th episode and his spat with the fan on Twitter.
I think
so
it was
it's possible
30.
that his health wasn't the only reason for his retirement. Following his departure, Orion retained the rights to the character of Tiberius and went on to make the radio show he had always wanted to, where Tiberius is the main character and gets loads of chicks and is super cool and has all the powers of Sonic, but is more powerful than Sonic. And this
is the first time I hear of this shit, by the way.
Friends, and ironically, because of this IP retention, Tiberius has effectively been scrubbed from most retellings of Campaign 1, including the upcoming animated series. Yep. Orion has since had a somewhat tumultuous couple of years.
What's my favorite? My favorite character? Well, I have two favorite characters. Got the Goliath. We got Percy. Dude, this character is so fucking edgy. I love him.
Upcoming animated series. Orion has since had a somewhat tumultuous couple of years, supposedly misusing funds from a...
That money was received on June 29. On June 30th, Orion had me transfer him $1,100 for rent. Then again, on August 1st, I transferred him another $1,400 for personal use. During this time, he also commissioned another $350 worth of art of secondary characters, informing me after the fact. Okay, what else we got? If you do the math, that is roughly 40% of the funds to him and things not related to the Kickstarter.
Kickstarter campaign he launched for his Tiberius radio show, his backers never receiving any of the rewards they paid for. There are also allegations surrounding him spending money from multiple charity streams on himself, as well as some very disturbing messages shared by ex-partners, which paint him out to be an abusive boyfriend.
That's even worse!
Well, many scandals of Orion have resulted in discussions surrounding him outside of his appearance on the show, being blacklisted from some of the major Crit Role fan groups, such as Facebook and Reddit. To this day, the cast of Critical Role have commented next to nothing on the situation, save for confirming that Orion...
Alright, oh wait, this is Matt Mercer. This is the main guy. I'm very happy that Orion has taken steps towards a healthier lifestyle and outlook. Okay, genuinely in his endeavors. That being said, and in hopes of ending the arguments and discussion with him for both our sakes and his, there are no plans for Orion to ever return to Critical Role.
Won't be returning to the show, and some super sleuths noticing Matt liking a few tweets condemning Orion's recent actions. Critical Role, meanwhile, continued on their gradual rise to fame, the crew now raking in massive viewership on both Twitch and YouTube, with the aforementioned animated series premiering early next year and their third campaign currently underway. In the end, it appears that Orion's
Yep.
role really wasn't that critical after all. After more mini scandals,
Alright, you know what? I really like this video a lot. I'm not in my account right now, so we can't really like it or in such in something. But that was a pretty good video. There was a lot of good points in the video as well. There were a lot of scandals back in the day, bro. You don't even fucking know, dude. Like it was so fucking weird. Anyways, wait, what the fuck? Hold on a second. Who the hell is this guy? Okay. Sorry, I was checking my Discord. You know what? I'll deal with it later. Anyways, let's take a look at more of these horror stories. Let me change the settings real quick. There we go. Hi DJ. You can start the music again. There we go. And now we're gonna search for r/RPG horror stories. Oh, right. It's RPG horror stories. So what we're gonna be looking for, it's we're going to search for the like heinous stories to read on stream. See how bad these people are. The RPG horror story that's causing me to leave the country. Oh, this one sounds pretty drastic. Paladin goes off on Druid for casting Firewall to kill gnolls. Okay. The DM and the player made racist slur about my black character. But other than cat piss guy, all my players have been cool, the GM said. I made a veteran rage quit. Had a player issue an ultimatum to me, the DM, during a session. Encounter shots off 2 players. Bad design or overreaction. DM's partner goes on power trip rant. DM abandons my plot line. Schrodinger's... Oh my god. Schrodinger's handling and that. Worst application I ever got. Applicant suggests I do a different game entirely. Lighthearted. Okay, so there's a lot of hard. Not a lot of them, but you know what? We're just gonna pick one of these and read it. Or well, this one. Oh, this one's a whole testament. This is what we're looking for. Alright, let's see what we got. The RPG horror story that's causing me to leave the country. This was sent by Lucerna26. That was the original poster. Alright, so it has an SA warning. SA tag is for light mentions of strictly fictional essay. I'll be as vague as possible to avoid any possible doxing since there is another poster involved. Okay, we're listening. But the title is not an exaggeration. Half my things are in boxes. I'm planning on packing or giving away the rest. And early next month, I'm loading up the cats in my sedan and leaving the country where I've lived for 31 of my 35 years. It all started over 2 years ago. I was scrolling Reddit, as one does, and I was reading through the recent stories on this very RPG horror story subreddit when one caught my eye. The poster, hereafter referred as Storyteller, wrote about a bad Dungeons and Dragons experience in his time in high school. His dungeon master wanted to fix, quote unquote, his asexual orientation by forcing his player character into multiple unwanted sexual encounters. After that, Storyteller's enjoyment of the game was lost. Storyteller ended the post wistfully, expressing a desire to reclaim the character and play him anew. SA warning ends here. Okay. And as it so happened, at that time in my campaign, I had the space for another player. And being asexual myself, I already was hoping my games were a safe zone from unwanted sexual content. So I pitched the game to Storyteller and he decided to try it out. Okay, fair enough. What else we got? Initially, things went very well. We worked together to adapt his high school character into my homebrew setting, and it fit in with some things that I had already planned. But as things do, complications started to arise with Storyteller and myself. There were problems after the first few months where I found myself thinking of him more and more. I had to restrain myself from messaging him, lest I become another bother. And I knew that even though we got along well, I had to maintain Dungeon Master boundaries. And one night, I saw a shooting star on my way home from work. And before I could stop myself, I subconsciously wished for Storyteller and myself to grow closer. Bad idea. And that time, I knew I had to resolve things with my romantic feelings for him. What the fuck? It's worth noting, I'm very chubby, have a host of health issues, and juggle between part-time jobs. I knew from a couple pictures that Storyteller was conventionally attractive, and he has a successful development career. I knew going in this would be a rejection, but somehow it wasn't. Storyteller and I had a long talk after our next session, and it turned out that we had both been suppressing our feelings for each other. So in the end, we decided to try things out as a romantic long-distance couple. Again, bad idea. Long-distance relationships, they never work. Honestly, I am always going to say this. When it comes to long-distance relationships, most of the times, they always fail. Every single time. And since then, we have such seamless compatibility that we're taking the next step. Early next month, I'm loading up the cats in my sedan and leaving the country. Okay, you already said that. And arriving at Storyteller's home, my new home. I hope, if anything, the story has brought you all smiles. Okay, this wasn't that bad. I thought this was gonna be a heinous story or something. This wasn't that bad. Give me the filthy stories. Give me the filth. Goes off on Druid for casting Firewall to kill gnolls. I want to see something that... Yeah, I want to find something that... How should I say? Schrodinger's... No, we're not reading Schrodinger. Consequences? Never heard of it. That one's interesting. It just felt so targeted. Oh, hell yeah. This is what we're looking for. We're looking for things like these. All right. It just felt so targeted. All right. So we are going to be reading It Just Felt So Targeted, posted by Average Tomboy. All right. Let's see what we got, chat. See how bad this gets. Hello. Hello there. I'll get straight into it because I don't know how to make an introduction. Not long ago, had my first ever in-person campaign after more than 5 years playing tabletop RPGs. As I don't have many IRL friends, and most people I'm friends with actually met through online tabletop role-playing games. It was supposed to be a short campaign inspired in Bloodborne. Oh, okay, this is actually interesting. Now, I don't really like Bloodborne. Lame. But the campaign would last 3 sessions at most, and it was a fun thing to do while I was on vacation in my partner's home country. So a friend, 20-ish, male, of theirs offered to DM since I wouldn't have this chance. Okay, so this means 23 non-binary, 24 female. It's gonna say 24 dude, 23 non-binary, 23 dude of theirs offered to be a dungeon master since I wouldn't have this chance otherwise. And another of my friends, 23-ish too, is a dude, joined to the idea. It was supposed to be real simple, real short, and we were just 3 players. We even had a session 0 and all. It looked completely harmless. Through a couple weeks, we slowly made our characters who were as follows. Ciara, my character, an undead warlock mixed with a slightly modified Dampier. Most abilities of the Dampier were nerfed, but I got to heal all necrotic damage dealt on a bite if I spend the use of it instead of healing a small fixed amount. Marcus, my partner's character, a half-orc pugilist. Think a mix between barbarian and monk, with a holy subclass the pugilist has. So more of a barbarian monk paladin, really. Damn, multi-classing much. And lastly, Jiang Qua, an artillerist artificer from the distant lands of China, seriously, who was trying to develop weapons so he could stop the Huns. What is this, fucking Mulans? What the fuck? I think it was never addressed how he ended up in Yarnam. He also had a cute spider-like eldritch cannon called Muffet because he likes Undertale. Yeah, that explains it. Jiang Qua. You'll notice I didn't say either of them were the problem player. And that's because they weren't. The problem was the dungeon master. Ooh, a bad dungeon master. Ho, the dungeon master being the villain. This I gotta see. Alright, we're off to a good start. Session numero uno. The first session was pretty unremarkable. We got assigned a mission by the Church of Yarnam to go look for one of their hunters named Ludwig. An NPC was a bit of a dick. An NPC was a bit of a dick to Ciara, but it was to be expected. She was a vampire, and we set ourselves to leave on our mission. However, we were stopped by a group of Huns who were apparently in the tavern we met. They were mad at Jean. Is it Jean? Yeah, I think it was Jean Qua. Zen? I don't know how to pronounce these Chinese names. I'm so sorry, chat. Jean Qua. I'm just gonna say Jean. We're mad at Jean because of the banner he carried around. They were from enemy countries after all. They wanted to fight us. We didn't want to fight them, so I used banishment to disappear the biggest of them to disappear. Lack of comas. Fuck. They wanted to fight us. We didn't want to fight them, so I used banishment to disappear. The biggest of them and rolled a 20 or something in intimidation. Telling them something along the lines of, "Leave us alone." While any normal NPC would have shit their pants and left, these guys were apparently too decided to fight us. We won without much issue. I didn't think much of it because I simply thought the DM just wants a test combat to see how we feel with our sheets. That's alright. I like this song so much. Scent Pepsi. Then we found some things along the way. Nothing major. Until we arrive at a small swamp-based town with everyone there dead. Apparently, we couldn't really understand what happened and one of Jean's chemical weapons was used there. The guy was apparently the one to discover white phosphorus, so we decided to investigate. In one of the houses, we will find our second combat as we entered. We saw an enormous pig who wasn't paying any attention to us, so we let it be. Jean decided he would go upstairs to check out on a noise we were hearing. Ciara would stay on the stairs, so were anything to happen, she would help whoever needed it, and Marcus would stay downstairs to make sure the pig didn't do anything. A simple plan. Jean even tied himself to Marcus so he could be pulled downstairs for were that to be needed. It instantly went to shit. The noise upstairs was a monster, and as soon as Jean got attacked by it, the pig downstairs instantly decided he was suddenly interested in us. Marcus was left to deal himself with the pig, while Jean and Ciara dealt with the strange amalgamation that was upstairs. Now, two important things about what's going to happen. All characters were supposed to have a fear, which could recently trigger a sanity mechanic. Oh. A sanity mechanic, you say? That's interesting. I actually, you know what, chat? That actually sounds, yeah, that sounds really interesting for a campaign. A sanity mechanic. Wow, how did I not think of that? I should implement that for my D&D campaign. Mine was fire. Oh, that's a very common fear. In my character's backstory, which were asked to write and the DM supposedly read, included her not wanting to use her powers because she had been attacked before by people she loved because of them. The combat was rough. Marcus was okay downstairs as he was able to deal radiant damage to which the pig was vulnerable. Remember this for later, but he couldn't grapple it. A very important mechanic for pugilists, and the thing will destroy the whole building with us in it if he dared to leave and help us. So Jean and Ciara were left upstairs with our very squishy characters in comparison, dealing with a monster that could immobilize you and deal damage to you without save or attack roll. If it did, and even though Jean's main form of damage, fire. Yeah, it was a funny coincidence since we were not allowed to discuss our fears before the sessions. Dealt double damage to the creature as it was vulnerable to it. The damn thing had a lot of HP. So first session in, and Ciara was needed to tank, which she could, kinda, do if she could deal necrotic damage, and she was actually built for that, to be a drain tank. Okay. So I spend all my resources. I go into Form of Dread and cast Spirit Shroud with necrotic damage and use an Eldritch Smite, converted to necrotic with Touch by Death. I put my rapier, since I was going to go full melee and bite the thing. Boom! A ton of necrotic damage suddenly. I can do that like twice more for now. I was going to be okay since I went from 1 hit point to half. Except the thing was immune to necrotic damage. Oh shit. A bunch of other things happened. I was basically forced to go into Eldritch Blast spam mode again. But I still could heal with some with the pig once we were fighting a 3v1 with it, and it was immune to necrotic. We won. I was a bit disappointed, but at least we were all relatively fine. Wait, what do you mean the pig was immune to necrotic damage? That's bullshit. Yeah, that's fucking bullshit. No pig in D&D is ever immune to necrotic damage. Unless the Dungeon Master designed it like that in some way. I don't know why would you want to make a pig be immune to necrotic damage, but that's beyond me. The first real combat of the campaign and the two monsters we faced were vulnerable to the types of damage the others did while being immune to mine. And I noticed too that despite the whole place burning down, I was never asked to make my sanity rolls, while the others had to do them whenever something related to their fears came up. I had to remind the Dungeon Master of the mechanic whenever it came to me. Yeah, if everybody already told you their fears, you have to play the fears. That's what the sanity system is for. At least it's an easy system to understand, you know? Session 2. Alright, how many sessions is there? Alright, there's 3 sessions. Already it feels targeted, so yeah. I would feel targeted if this were to happen to me, so yeah. It took a couple weeks because life. But we got into session 2. We started with all our characters kind of bummed, still investigating the city, and we found something. I don't really remember what. That sent Jean into straight up crazy behavior. So before he could do anything stupid, he was about to destroy the whole place. I banished him. Except for some reason, the description of banishment was completely ignored. He didn't go to a harmless demi-plane. He ended up in a destroyed China. I didn't really mind, as it is okay to ignore some things for the plot, but cue 3 hours of Jean having a whole month-long arc while Ciara and Marcus were left 3 days doing nothing because Ciara could still feel Jean trapped the demi-plane. Oh my god, the grammar. And they were trying to see if he'd be okay. It was weird, but nothing major. We then arrived to another city. One were some vultures. Seemed to be roaming around at all times, but before we got into a will-o-wisp like creature, before we got in, Again, lack of comas. I want to apologize. We got in a will-o-wisp-like creature approach Marcus and seemed to be trying to help us. It even let him. It even left him a small gem that would supposedly guide us towards Ludwig. We enter the city and after some exploring, find a little girl who tells us her sister and the man who helps them, quote unquote, are the only ones left in the city, and that man only shows up sometimes. He seems to be sick with a disease. I don't remember right now, but that my character identified as she was a doctor, and it couldn't be healed by normal means, so we had to resort to Marcus, who had an ability very similar to lay on hands. They can't leave, apparently, because their sister is severely sick with something we came to find was the same she had. So my character again couldn't do anything about it despite being a doctor. We went to the place where they rested while the vultures harassed us, trying to take the gem from us. As it happens to be that they have found shelter inside the rubble of a mill, so nothing really fit in there except for them and Ciara, who went in an attempt to see what could be about it all. While Ciara was off scene inside the mill, a fight broke out between Marcus, Jean, and the vultures, who apparently were a false Hydra disguising itself. What the fuck? They start fighting. Buildings are collapsing as we are level 9 characters. Ooh, wait, you guys are level 9 and already fighting this shit? Damn. Ciara somehow doesn't hear a thing. Once the girl mentioned appears. Apparently a hunter. And starts shooting the thing, and only then Ciara manages to hear something. She hears the gunshot. Despite buildings falling down before and literally Zhang also having a way more potent firearm he was shooting with. So I joined the combat a couple rounds after that. Like 6 rounds in at that point. And get instantly one shot and eaten. Marcus gets eaten too. He just does so while still conscious, and only Jean and the NPC are left to deal with things to which every time Jean gets taken down, his Eldritch Cannon is allowed for some reason to not only stabilize him, but heal him 1 hit point. This also happened the last fight, but it was especially important here as we would have lost hundreds times without it. Yada yada, we won eventually. Ciara and Marcus were still alive. We went on our way to our last destination. Okay, so and a one-shotting Hydra that's disguised as a vulture. What? Okay. I can see why it feels targeted because on the first session, the NPC was treating Ciara like crap. The dungeon master failed to acknowledge the character's fear, and the dungeon master does not let Ciara heal a person that can clearly be healed by Ciara. That is whack. That is very whack. Alright, what else we got? Session 3. We found our last place. A cassette which had been unnaturally raised above ground, so we had to start climbing. I used my nerf spider climb ability. I just had climbing speed, couldn't stand on ceilings and walls. And Jean casted the spider climb spell on Marcus, who carried him on his back, giving a description on how it has a mechanical backpack, as none of Jean's spells are really magic. As we start hearing screams on the top of the castle, I decide to run, and Jean and Marcus run behind me. But for some reason, I arrive at the top, a whole 2 rounds earlier, get seen by a shadow-looking creature on the way there, and get jumped by 2 of them, and instantly downed before I could do anything about it. Not even a dexterity save or anything? That's... okay, yeah, that is pretty fucking whack. What the hell? You gotta make a dexterity save or something, at least. Mind you, the moment I said I would run and the others said they do the same, this all happened without me being able to have any input above it all. I couldn't stop when I saw it, and when they appeared flanking me, they did 7 attacks between the two of them until I was on the ground. Okay, so you got incapacitated by 2 creatures and didn't even do a check. Yeah, they didn't even... the Dungeon Master didn't even give you a check to do. That is whack. The other 2, while I was rolling death saves, there's something to roll at least. The creatures don't attack them. They get closer to me. The 2 creatures still don't attack them. They try to heal me. One of the creatures takes me and teleports away to a place that they could still be seen. But they still don't attack. They start attacking the creatures. The creatures don't attack them for a whole other round. Once the fight actually happens, the creatures now have only 2 attacks a turn. They get demolished as they are vulnerable to fire damage, and I get healed just in time to not die and do a single Eldritch Blast against one of them to finish it. We enter the place where the screams came from with me at 10 hit points. Okay, yeah, okay, now I can see why it feels targeted. Like, the Dungeon Master clearly hates Ciara for some reason, because she keeps getting targeted left and right. I don't know why. We have a conversation with a thing that's supposedly trying to cure Ludwig. We end up fighting. I attack it with everything turned on and doing an Eldritch Smite again, just to make sure I'll heal some, as I'm really needing to heal. The thing is immune to necrotic damage. Again. Why are all of these things immune to necrotic damage? I feel like this was made to counter this character. Like, this whole campaign, I feel like it was made to counter Ciara for some ungodly reason. I don't know why. At this point, I'm not proud of it, but I completely disconnected myself from the game. I was not having fun. I was constantly being useless. There was nowhere I could have used my highest stat of charisma. Every monster inutilized my build, and I was literally taking out of 2 of the fights. The Hydra and the Shadows, remember that. Before they even began. This thing was, again, vulnerable to radiant damage. The last fight was weird? Huh? The boss had an ability that would change effects depending on the music that was playing out of the game. Oh, that's interesting. I don't know how that would work, but okay. So it could change twice a turn if it was a especially complicated turn, triggering each time it changed. Some of the abilities we were told the thing had would literally just kill you if you failed a save, and if the music changed enough times, we would all lose no matter what. But we won and came back with Ludwig's corpse and the weapon as they asked us. So we got killed by the people who hired us. Just because. Are you serious? I literally left at that point. I went upstairs to watch something on my phone. I was mad. I didn't want to say anything, but it was so frustrating. Later that night, I was told that the Dungeon Master put 2 enemies with vulnerability to necrotic damage. It's just that I didn't try it with them. Which 2? Well, the False Hydra and the Shadows, of course. I don't know. It just felt so shitty at all times. I just wanted to have a fun experience with my first in-person game, and instead was giving the role of the sexy lamp, except it wasn't even a sexy lamp, just a lamp. Even my backstory was ignored, as at a point shortly before the final fight, we got shown visions of better lives. But my characters, who was almost burned alive twice, version of a better life was apparently being rushed to a doctor because she was playing with fire? Ah, yes, every pyrophobic person dream, being severely burned. Maybe I'm the one in the wrong here and are overreacting or something, but I just wanted to take it out somewhere. Alright, what are my thoughts on this? My thoughts on all of this did not feel target. This was targeted. Because the thing about this is that my brother in Christ, uh, a lot of monsters immune to necrotic damage. Like the pig, immune to necrotic damage. The first motherfucker from the first session, immune to necrotic damage. The Hydra, immune to necrotic damage. And then the shadows, immune to necrotic damage. Everything was immune to necrotic damage, rendering Ciara to be useless in the entirety of the fight. It's like the Dungeon Master wanted to target Ciara's character specifically. Or maybe it could have been a coincidence and he already had the session planned and, you know, these enemies were all immune to necrotic damage. But, you know, again, it's way too coincidental. You want to have every single time I make a D&D session, the one thing I always want for enemy designing and all that stuff, you want to have enemy variety, you know? You want to have enemies be immune to different things. You want to have enemies be vulnerable to multiple things, because most of them being vulnerable to fire and radiant and being immune to necrotic, again, it felt way too coincidental and a little targeted. Want to see what the comments have to say on this. Lord feels like the Dungeon Master had it out for you and possibly the others. No, I would say the Dungeon Master had mostly towards Ciara. He sounds like an adversarial game master. And even though, going by your comment, it wasn't just you who kept on being nullified, it does seem it was you a lot of the time. I'm sorry, original poster. That was a terrible first experience, and I hope it doesn't put you off for good. There are many better games and game masters out there. You're looking at the best game master right now. That being me. I'm kidding. I'm sure there's better dungeon masters than me out there. All right, let's see what else we got. I don't really like Bloodborne. It's you, OP. You're the horror. Jokes aside, some of this sounds like the errors a new dungeon master makes, and others like the shadows insta downing you sound like total bullshit. At the very least, if necrotic was gonna be highly resisted, the dungeon master should have at least let you know that ahead of time. Yeah, that I agree. I actually agree with this statement. The only problem is that would take away the element of surprise. But again, it just felt way too coincidental. If a dungeon master wants to have high stakes and make combat feel like it matters, making up abilities to heal your player characters when they are losing completely invalidates that. I don't know, seems childish to me. Sorry you had a bad experience. All right, I don't know who you are, but hey, I'm so sorry if you had a terrible experience. I'm pretty sure you're not watching this stream right now, but I'm so sorry you had a terrible experience. I hope that you find a better. I really hope that you find a better game out there. You know, because I'm sure that there are a lot of games of Dungeons and Dragons that are extremely enjoyable. I know because I hosted one. So yeah. Anyways, I am going to take a little break because there are things that I have to check right real quick. I'm going to the bathroom right now, but do not go anywhere. I will be right back and we can keep reading more horror stories and D&D related stuff. So yeah, don't go anywhere, chat. Be back in a flash. All right, everybody, we are back to reading more D&D horror stories. Let's see what else we got. Let's see what else we can find on the annals of the internet. Let's see what we got. Oh, this one sounds good. Oh, hell yeah. All right. Let's see. Our dungeon master is letting me DM a campaign hosted by OKBat1468. Let's read. A very important detail to this story is the dungeon master is also my husband. Oh. He introduced Dungeons and Dragons to me when we were dating and finally talked to me into starting a campaign with him and a few of our good friends. It was his second campaign. He DM'd and his third time playing, but the rest of us knew nothing about Dungeons and Dragons before this. He had said he would do a small campaign to warm us up to the game, but it ended up being 2 years long. This launched me into an absolute obsession with the game. We bought a 3D printer and he would print minis for me to paint. Oh, that's cool. We bought our dice goblins and spent way too much on beautiful dice sets. We bought every book for 5e we could find. The more we played, the more I had a desire to DM as well. Some of the other players in the group encouraged me to do a geek mythology themed campaign since that is something I love and know a lot about. I did a year's worth of research in my free time, ways to mix the game aspect and the mythological elements that already existed. I watch a lot of games online to learn different DM techniques and roleplay skills. I even downloaded and completed Baldur's Gate 3 for a different take on combat than what we were playing with my husband's campaign. I even started looking at DM screens on Etsy. Oh no, she's looking at the DM screens. That's where she's invested, chat. She's very invested. We got him. We fucking got her. Got him. And by M, I mean EM, you know. That's when you say we got them. We got them. I was really excited to play my campaign, and I shared a lot of my research with my husband. At one point in his campaign, we took a 6-month hiatus. He was feeling burned out and didn't know how he wanted to finish the story. He kept saying that he felt stuck as the forever dungeon master, and he just wanted to step down. At that point, 2 of the players had dropped out, and all of us were ready for something new. I suggested we start my campaign so he had time to play and get the creative juices flowing again. Everyone else, still in the party, was excited to start making new characters and change things up. But my husband asked that we hold off on starting my campaign because we knew we'd never come back to finish his. So I left it and waited until he was ready to finish his up. We finished the campaign end of October last year. He and I were in the middle of moving and... Okay. He and I were in the middle of moving. Where's the... Okay, here we go. And then the holidays were coming up. So I told everyone to wait until the new year to start my campaign. My husband joined a new group in that time frame as a player. It was with people I didn't know, so I wasn't invited, which was okay with me. January of this year, we found out I'm pregnant. Hey, congrats! The first trimester, I was so sick, and there was no way I could have the energy to start a campaign. Now in my second trimester, and I'm feeling much better. With summer starting, everyone's schedules have started clearing back up, so they want to play again. I was a bit concerned about starting my campaign because I wasn't sure if I could squeeze it all between now and when the baby is due. I don't want to have an active campaign with a newborn. I suggested we do a smaller campaign and started putting one together. It's not going to be as big and detailed as my Greek mythology one, but I'm still pretty excited to play again. But my husband just messaged the chat with a campaign idea he has. He started making plans for a session 0 and he's inviting some players from the other group he plays with. I feel like I was totally shoved to the side. I talked to him about it and he said that he knows I'm bummed that I can't do my big campaign, and since he has an idea for a small campaign, he wants to do that instead. I let him know that I'm okay holding off on my big one and DMing a small one instead. He said I can do a one shot or something, but I should let him DM because he knows what he's doing and already told everyone about his campaign idea. I'm still pretty frustrated that it got swiped away from me like that, but I also just want to play again. Just wish that all that I just wish all that time on researching how to dungeon master wasn't being put to waste like this. So yeah. Um what are my thoughts on this? A forever DM that is not letting you do DM a campaign. Well, here's the thing. You never know if you never try. So I'd say do it. Just forget what you're doing. Forget about the problems in life. Just do it. Every person that has played D&D has always fulfilled the duty of being a dungeon master. Every single one. Well, the majority of people, of course. It is someone's sworn duty to be a dungeon master. I already fulfilled my duty. The reason why I had to cancel my campaign was, or at least put it on hold for now, was because of not only because of the schedules, but I was playing on Roll20, and yeah, besides the scheduling conflicts, I did not want to pay $5 to continue my campaign if there was always going to be that one person absent. That is the reason why I did not continue my Ramao World of Wonders campaign. But as I was saying, honestly, if you wanna be a dungeon master on a campaign, just do it. Don't think twice about it. Be a dungeon master. Alright, what else we got? DM doesn't make a good player. Thankfully, the horror stopped before it got too bad. Alright, let me see what else we got. No, you cannot play as a transformer. The fuck? What the fuck? The other game master in my party is a copycat. I want to find one that's spicy. You know, I want to find like a give me the juice. Give me the type of horror story that'll make me. Give me the type of horror story that'll make me gag, or the type of horror story that will. Okay. Two kinds of dark. That one doesn't sound interesting. What, the dungeon master is a bad player. Players tried bypass rolling and uses homebrew he made up on the spot. Okay. Why I almost never ended up playing Dungeons and Dragons. Extra long. A tale of rats, rabbits, and a doorway. The D&D club. Oh, this thing is a three-parter. Where's part 2 and 3? Okay, never mind. That one doesn't sound awful experience with a paid game. That's a rant. Okay, there it is. Hell is other people. And these ones are extra long, by the way. This is an entire saga. Damn, I was a shitty person a few years ago. When you accidentally kill your girl instead of kissing her, I am not gonna be surprised if that person was a Yuan-Ti and accidentally poisoned her. Not gonna be surprised if that's the case. No, you can't use mental illness to justify having 2 character sheets. The Mummy of Pemberley Grange, A Tale of Ignored Clues, and a Fiery Fiend. And a Fiery End, my bad. I'm looking for some about the creepy, uncooperative, and hedonistic druid player in my previous post. Here's the thing, chat. I remember one time that I literally posted something on Reddit. I think it was in r/DnD memes. And it was a post that had it was like I literally called out the entire D&D community. I told them that all of you are horny, but you all put the blame in one class. And it was a picture of everybody pointing at the bard. And a lot of comments were in that post. It was fucking wild. It was so wild. I don't know. Reddit to me is a hit or miss of a website because your story could be a miss and could be blocked by a bot or something. Maybe I should go up. Yeah, I should go at the very top because I think I found something. No, that's the gonna make you leave the country. You made a veteran rage quit. I'm not gonna read that. I know there was one with a druid that I was interested in reading. I don't know if it's here. Where is it? I know it was something with a druid. Paladin. Oh, here it is. Found it. Alright, this one's pretty short. Let's see what we got. Paladin goes off on druid for casting firewall to kill gnolls. Online Dungeons and Dragons game. I'm playing a wildfire druid. Lots of fire, lots of healing, ashes to allies. She's from a small city nestled deep in the woods and grew up in the monastery of the local forest goddess Standard Fantasy Fair. She acts like a priest of a nature goddess and steward of the natural cycle of the forest. Paladin throughout the game. Why isn't she wearing armor and wild shaping? You're playing a druid, not a wizard. You shouldn't be casting all those spells. Well, fuck you, Paladin. You don't pay my sub. Anyways. Your character shouldn't care about what's in books. They're made from trees. You should hate libraries. Why does your character have a home in the city? She should live in the wild. Listen, man. You don't tell a character what to do. Alright? If a person wants to be a fucking plasmoid, let them be a goddamn plasmoid, okay? I don't know, maybe they saw that slime anime and they want to be a plasmoid. Let them be the plasmoid. Don't fucking do this shit. It's annoying. Then today we were surrounded by gnolls. Our backs against a ravine wall, and I waited until the last second and upcast firewall in an arc completely around us. And straight through the middle of the gnolls, it was a glorious moment of a druid pulling some serious druid shit. Further enhanced by her wildfire perks. The gnolls were fucked. The ones that didn't burn to death the second it was cast ran off and were then murdered by scorching rays and arrows from our ranger, but they got out of range. The annoying player had gone down 3 times in the fight because he didn't pay attention to the cleric when he was told not to break sanctuary until the cleric could drop a real heal on him. The second time he got picked up as a collateral from a mass healing word, and the third time we were not going to bother because he was just going to stupid himself to death again. Oh, it's the paladin is that type of guy. Okay. He was angry at me because Firewall is a defensive spell. It has wall in its name. You should have used that spell slot to cast heal on me so I could have fought them. I'm the paladin. He then went on to lecture me, druids are about area control, not about killing, blah, blah, blah. I finally just nap. Shut the fuck up, you tool. If they are so cooked that savages who like well done steaks are showing up because they smell the charcoal, the area is controlled, you goddamn tool. He blocked me on Discord after that, and he's apparently asking the DM to kick from the game right now for using fuck and calling him a tool. And I wrote this, and just because I was going to click post, the DM announced the Paladin has quit the game. Alright, my thoughts and opinions on this. You don't want to be like this. Don't be like this Paladin. This Paladin is just so fucking annoying. Dude, if I knew that the Paladin had this sort of behavior on one of my players, you know what I would do just for shits and giggles? I would take away his oath. Just like that. Boom. Useless Paladin. All he's good is being a damage sponge now. But yeah. This type of behavior, I am not going to tolerate this type of behavior on my table. You do... Okay, here's the thing, chat. You don't tell someone how to play Dungeons and Dragons at all. You never do this shit. If somebody wants to play the game however the fuck they want, regardless of how good their build on their character is or how broken it is, you gotta find a way to adapt to it, you know? You gotta find a way to adapt to this, to the playstyle of the characters. And you just have to go along with it. You just don't go around telling people you should play this, you should play that, because that is an annoying behavior, and nobody likes that in a D&D table, myself included. If somebody were to lecture me on how I play my character, I would just tell them, shut the fuck up, dude. I play my character however the fuck I want. You have no power here. If I want to cast Fireball inside of a tavern, I cast Fireball on inside of a tavern. Yeah, it's irrational. You know how I would respond to people like this? It's what my character would do. I would respond. Look at okay, chat. If someone is being an annoying fuck in a D&D campaign and telling you how to play your character, you know what? You have every single right to tell them, you know why my character is doing all of this shit even though they shouldn't? Because it's what my character would do. It's what my character would fucking do. Pretty much. That is pretty much the whole gist of it. Just give them that excuse, and they should just butt off. They should. Keyword on should. It's not a guaranteed, but it's something. Alright, let's see what else we got. Alright, let's finish this with one more horror story at least. That one's lighthearted. DM nice guy and the roommate who harassed my friend. Oh, this one. Yeah, this one seems all right. All right. Perfect one to end this to perfect one for a good long story. All right, let's read. See what we got. Hey, hi. I have a bunch of horror stories, even some where I find myself in a bit of a problem. Even I found myself am a bit of a problem player, but first time I've ever posted when I posted this before. I appear to have not given enough context. Also, accidentally forgot to omit a name like a dumbass. So this is a repost. Big fan of Crispy's Tavern and Crick Crab if he's still about. Hey, Crispy's Tavern or Crick Crab. I don't know if you guys are watching this stream, which I'm pretty sure you guys are not. But if you guys are seeing this, then you guys can read this on your channel. You're very welcome. Me, also me. Dungeon Master, that guy. witchy friend, my female friend. So she's a wizard. The dungeon master of her Harry Potter style D&D game have been hitting on her multiple times while she was going through a weird time with visa issues and having a rough time with her husband and state of her relationship. She asked him to just let her know if he had feelings for him. If he had feelings for him multiple times, and he swore he didn't. Then texted her a random declaration of love. She was poly at the time. I don't know if the dungeon master got his roommate to harass her or not, but yeah, she did. She did it. She did. It was really messy. Wasn't in this game and didn't know that guy super well. Me, I want you to describe me exactly what happened. That guy. I confessed to witchy friend that I had a crush, while trying to emphasize that I wasn't interested in pursuing anything from it. Was aware she didn't feel the same way and made clear that I was just trying to state that the crush was there. She reacted in a way I did not expect. I can send screenshots of the messages sent, both by myself and my witchy friend, if you want the full picture. Go on. Give me the context. Yeah, give us the juice. Give us the evidence. Show me the evidence, damn it. That guy. I can't speak for witchy friend without being biased against her at the moment, since I'm a little hurt and upset. Then send me the screenshots you have. His screenshot. Oh shit, we're reading DMs now? Okay, here we go. See what we got. Hey, I got something I need to tell you for my own sake. I wanted to say it for a while, but I've been nervous and trying to find the right time, place, and way to say it. Ideally, I'd be telling you in person, but if I keep quiet about it much longer, it's going to ruin my mental state. I've had a crush on you for a while, since about halfway through your time in France. I've sort of avoided answering directly any time you've asked me about my feelings toward you due to some serious betrayal trauma, or I've been outed about these sorts of feelings before I was ready to in the past. Ooh! Alright, so let's read the rest. I've had a crush on you for a while. Since about halfway through your time in France, I've sort of avoided answering directly anytime you've asked me about my feelings toward you due to some serious betrayal trauma, where I've been outed about this. Wait, didn't I read this? I've already read this shit in the past. Okay, let's find the word past. There it is. And I don't want you to feel like I'm intentionally playing with your emotions when that happens. That trauma causes me to act in denial when confronted about these sorts of things. And it's not in any way a flaw on your end. It's entirely my problem and one I'm working through. I'm not expecting anything from you as a result of my telling you this. And it may be selfish for me to just say it this way. But I know that if I don't tell you, the regret will destroy me inside. I'm happy to just remain friends, as that appears to be what you want, and I still care deeply about you. I think you're a genuine, amazing. Oh my god, what are you doing? Dude, just stop. What are you doing to yourself? That guy, stop! You're kind, intelligent, and passionate about the people, things, and experiences in your world. I could easily get lost in your voice whenever you talk about. Oh my god, just shut the fuck up, bro. What are you doing? You enjoy or sing the songs you love, because I just love hearing that unfiltered freedom, enjoying every word. Every word. Fuck. In the short time I've known you, I've genuinely believed that you have made me a better person and improved my life, and I do not want to lose that. What is wrong with this guy, bro? You this motherfucker leaving her a full testament. I'm happy to answer any questions about this if you want me to, or give you some space if you feel like you need to distance yourself from me for a bit, or if things will be awkward for a bit. No matter what, though, The main thing I want you to know amidst all of this is that I'm okay with where things are between us right now. If you want to leave them as they are, I have no intention of pursuing anything beyond what we have at the moment. I just think you deserve to know about this, and it's also better for my own sake to get this off my chest. Bro, I have never. Bro, if there was like a cringe confession, if someone was to confess themselves in a cringy way, I feel like this person puts every other cringy confession to shame. If you're to confess your love to someone, bro, this is oof. This is rough. Come on, man. Seriously, bro? That's a paragraph. This is a fucking testament is what you're writing here. Witchy friend responded. Here we go. First of all, I and several people around me have suspected for some time that you were looking for more than friendship. So let me make this clear. I don't have, nor have I had any kind of romantic or sexual desires towards you. Nothing was ever going to happen between us, and nothing ever will. I gave you multiple chances to acknowledge your feelings so that I could cleanly reject them. Ooh! You lied to me instead, and put me in a delicate position where I had to signal my lack of interest while not hurting your ego, dropping hints that I worried you couldn't pick up on because of your difficulties with social cues. You have made me uncomfortable several times, both before and after my return to the UK. And I have let it slide every single time, trying to believe the best of you, trying to preserve the friendship. I thought that if I gave you time and space, you'd move on and it wouldn't have to turn into a big deal. I guess you didn't hold the same concerns. You talk about being outed about these sorts of feelings before you were ready. As if you didn't owe it to me to answer me truthfully when I asked, giving me the opportunity to clear the air and not live in anxiety and awkwardness. As if you being ready was the only consideration, and now you have decided that the timing was right for you. And you are forcing the results onto me with a magnitude and intensity that I never wanted to deal with. You recognize that it may be selfish for you to just say it in this way. And yes, it is. But you know what? But you know that if you don't tell me, the regret will destroy you on the inside. Regret for what? My God. Not shooting your shot? Was that regret going to outweigh the regret of freaking me out and losing my friendship? Bro. That guy sounds like a fucking weirdo. Holy shit. Because that's what's happening here. You can wax poetry all you want about the things you like about me. And honestly, that whole paragraph was very uncomfortable for me to read amidst the romantic confession of someone I'm not romantically interested in. Guy got cocked. What a fucking cock. You can pretend all you want that everything will go back to normal just because you will it to. But there is no possible world where this wasn't going to blow up. That's just delusional. What you're doing has officially rendered our friendship unsalvageable because you had demonstrated a lack of self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and a level of entitlement that I don't tolerate from anyone. You're not expecting anything from me as a result of your confession, yet you were fully prepared to force me to sit in discomfort every Monday with the weight of unreciprocated feelings hanging in the air. You're happy to just remain friends and you're okay with where things have been between us now, except you still had to unload all of this on me on the off chance that I would, what, miraculously reveal that I wanted to date you? Even after I repeatedly signified, implicitly and explicitly, that I didn't want anything but friendship. Anything but friendship? Well, I'm glad you got to get this off your chest. Congratulations. You put your need to feel heard above my need to feel safe. I'm removing myself from the campaign, which was a space I really valued with people I care about. Thank you for taking this time away from me, cheapening my friendship and making my life harder 2 weeks after I moved to another country. It really shows what kind of care you really deal out to pretty girls who are nice to you. Alright, let's see what else we got. Discord message. That guy. Discord message from that guy. Brown message is what I send. The gray box is her response. I also received the screenshot from a group chat she made with other members of the group I was running. Is it almost over? Oh yeah, it is. What the fuck? This ain't RPG horror stories. This is straight up drama horror stories. What the fuck? I had to leave the table because after weeks of signaling, I wasn't interested in anything but completely platonic friendship. He sent me a long message professing his feelings in the most intense, unhinged, and entitled way. There were so many layers of wrong in that message, I wouldn't even know where to begin. A lot of emotional manipulation. Yeah, I mean, my brother in Christ. You do not send a message like, if you really care for somebody, you don't send a message this fucking long and then say shit like, where is it? Where is it? You don't send this type of message and then say shit like, you're kind, intelligent, and passionate about people, things, and experiences in your world. I could easily get lost in your voice whenever you talk about it. Shut the fuck up! What a cuck! My god, this guy is beyond cringe. What the fuck, man? Jesus fucking Christ. Oh god. So yeah, there was no way I was going to... So yeah, there was no way I was going to sit in dreadful discomfort every Monday, which sucks because I valued the game and really liked you, babes. And I'm being forced out by this need for attention and acknowledgement since it's teenage boy feelings, social inadequacy, and complete lack of self-awareness are apparently my problem. That guy told me how casually that guy shrugged this off with you guys. So I'm setting the record straight. This is on him. He prioritizes his need to feel heard over my need to feel safe, and that is unacceptable. All right, let me see what he has to say. You could have just left it at, hey, sorry, I have a crush on you. You had chances to confess normally, and you could still done that. You could have still done that. Maybe you could have come back from a normal confession, but no. Instead, you confess, and freedom and joy in every word compels you to have a nice guy TM rant. Hoping your systematic woman point earning has made your gremlin Elliot Roger praising self get her to love you. Yeah, that shit was not gonna work. That shit is not gonna work. Not like, yeah. Because, of course, her being poly makes you think she's an easy lay, and that all of your nice guy stuff can make her either fall in love with you, or was your plan to continue advances over DnD sessions? You're 27 motherfucking years old. You know what's funny? I'm literally the same age as this motherfucker. Grow the fuck up! You're not in high school anymore! Grow some balls, goddammit! And this sounds like a manifesto of a 17-year-old boy trying to get laid by pretending to be a feminist and shoulder to cry on. Yeah, true. You need to get a grip on yourself because currently you're the worst type of self-entitled incel nerd stereotype. Yup, there it is. Somebody had to tell him. I did not intend to come across that way. I even ran what I said past my flatmate beforehand to try and make sure I wasn't saying anything too forward or rude. I did not think she was an easy lay, nor did I expect her to win her affection through anything I said. Really? Are you sure about that? I mean, your message kind of like got the wrong impression, but okay. My God. I admit that I had chances to confess. I admit that I had chances to confess. I didn't take them because I was afraid. I emphasize that this was due to my own past trauma and had nothing to do with her. I acknowledge my own failings in that regard. My honest intention was just to say that I had a crush while trying to make clear why I felt that way and that I had no intention of pursuing anything with her. And she made clear she didn't feel the same. That guy. I won't try to convince you, but I promise you that I had no ill intentions. I didn't want to lose the friendship I had with her. I didn't mean to make her feel threatened or endangered by what I said, and for that I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset her. His female roommate then proceeded to say that she was a bitch and a whore, and that she should have gave a guy a chance, and my friend had a damn panic attack. Me and my friend, a guy she was seeing at the time, shared some cigs and managed to calm her down. By joking that his roommate should date him, then this and her husband cheating on her the week after had her in such a state she barely wanted to leave her flat. But for the night we played our D&D game where I played my own dumb problem character with a DM who is an even worse person. Sorry for spelling and punctuation and lack context on my first draft. Not done something like this before. What the hell does this have to do with D&D? That guy's a DM and my friend left the D&D game over this. I was floored when you said he was 27 and not 17. I'm dying to know what trauma he got from having somebody out a previous crush. Yeah, it's like, what the hell does this have to do with D&D? I mean, I don't know, man. This isn't D&D. Like this RPG horror story. My brother in Christ, this is not even D&D. This is just straight up drama, a drama story. It's literally what it is. I already read It Felt So Targeted, so yeah. DM gets upset when we deal damage. You're serious? Alright. We're actually gonna finish this with a D&D horror story. For real this time. Not the frat boy drama that was going on with the 27-year-old incel that wanted to get laid and that he had a crush on this woman who smelled like roses and sang like an angel, apparently. Alright. Dungeon Master gets upset when we deal damage. How do you get upset with this? What the fuck? Alright, let's find out. It's a short story and we're actually gonna finish it with this, so let's see what we got. So I've been playing in a game with 4 other people for about a year now. And I've started noticing the Dungeon Master seems to get upset whenever we survive combat with an enemy. For simplicity, I will call our party by class names. Monk, Bard, Paladin, Cleric. Okay. Pretty balanced group so far. You got 2 DPS, a support DPS, a melee DPS, a tank, and a healer. Yeah, that's pretty balanced. The past couple sessions, we have been traversing through a haunted forest and our DM decided to put us against 16 bandits, including a wizard and a bandit captain. The fight went off quite well as our paladin took front and dealt decent amount of damage with his attacks before we were able to group the bandits together and have our cleric fireball them. They are playing the light domain to finally take out the group. The session ended after we took out the captain and our dungeon master started talking about how they had developed a large amount of lore for the bandits that we would now never get to know. The DM seemed upset when she talked about this, which will come up later. The next session, we continued our travel through the woods, doing bits of RP, which is role-playing for those of you who don't know. At one point, the paladin who had their oath broken by a cultist who cursed them came up with an interesting idea to create a new path. They decided that they would go pray to their god under a full moon on their birthday to reform their connection with their god. The paladin decided to go through with this plan, writing up a prayer to use during the process. After the prayer finished, paladin got their oath and we continued on. That is the reason why I will not play a paladin in D&D, because losing your oath can cost you a lot. Now the paladin had a new path through. They entered a dream sequence where they fought an evil version of themselves. The DM narrated them standing on a silvered moonlit lake as they prepared to battle, my bad. The initiative was rolled and Paladin went second after the evil version of themselves. The Death Knight attempted to hit Paladin but missed. On their turn, Paladin rolled both their attacks, getting a nat 20 on their first roll, and used their inspiration to reroll their second attack. 2 nat 20s. Damn. Paladin fucking goated. Paladin smited and the DM started getting upset that Paladin was going to one-shot this Death Knight, complaining that Paladin shouldn't be able to do that. Well, that's a skill issue from the Dungeon Master. Should have made the enemy stronger than that. The DM started getting fed up with how the thing died in one hit, and told Paladin that they one-shot it in a super annoyed voice. After she started complaining about the bandits we had fought before when we tried to talk with her afterwards. I do have to admit, there are a few times in here that I got pretty annoyed with the DM because she started trying to attack down players during the bandit fight, which enemies had never done before. Edit. Thanks everyone for the feedback. I will be attempting to talk to the party and the Dungeon Master. I will keep you all updated on how it goes. For more information, the bandits ambushed us as we traveled, not allowing us to talk with them. There had also been a few encounters in the past. One with an enemy that could end the campaign and almost did. But everyone sacrificed a lot of what they had and ended up losing 2 of our characters, my sorcerer included. What do I do? My thoughts on this? I'd say that your Dungeon Master has a skill issue in enemy design, because enemies are supposed to be challenging for the players, you know? Like, they're supposed to pose a challenge for the player. Sure, you can make cookie cutter enemies and, you know, enemies that they can one-shot or anything or something like that, but make their enemies stronger so that they wouldn't be one-shotted. Like, dude, if your party one-shots your enemies, I think you may be doing something wrong. So yeah, if I were you, your Dungeon Master should just buff their enemies if they die too quickly. In your case, you guys don't have a problem at all. You guys keep doing your thing. You guys are playing the game. You guys are enjoying the game, which is what's supposed to be done in D&D. But the Dungeon Master should just enjoy the game, even if the Dungeon Master's enemies are pretty much dying like flies. But anyways, that, my friends, is going to be everything for today. That, my friends, is going to be the end of tonight's stream. I decided to do something different today, you know, besides my usual gameplay and stuff. You know, wanted to read something for you guys out there. Wanted to read some Dungeons and Dragons. And yeah. But tomorrow we're going to go back to gaming. I just needed something to fill in the blanks this week. And yeah, I decided to do some reaction content. But anyways, stay tuned tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be playing Clair Obscure Expedition 33. I'm so excited to play that game. You guys don't even know. It's gonna be a turn-based game, but I've already seen gameplay from the game. It looks cool. And yeah, stay tuned for Clair Obscure tomorrow. And we're going to raid somebody. Let's see who we can raid today. Alright, we got somebody to raid, chat. So, there is this one artist by the name of Pioint. Pretty amazing person. Do show her some love. So, but without further ado, I must go. I have to eat some grub. And I will prepare myself tomorrow to play Clair Obscure Expedition 33. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Same time as always. Bye!